King. Sir King. Sir King.
Canvas.
Sir King. Sir King. Sir King. Sir King.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. What's up, Nessa? Thank you for stopping through. Nessa says hello and good night, Sir King. Have a great show. Thank you. Hope you sleep well. What's up, Bo32? What's going on with your Bodacious self? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. All right, so listen, y'all. I'm just going to talk about a few things that I've seen in the real world on the YouTube streets. Let me just be honest. I keep saying this. I am not captivated by any of what's going on right now in the YouTube streets at all. I peek here on panels from here to here, and all it is just blatantly, to be honest, stupid people talking about stupid shit. That's all it is. It's not even entertaining. It's stupid. Oh, who's male identified? Who doing this? Who doing that? Just a bunch of yelling and screaming. And I myself can only take it for so long. This is the time you wish somebody would run an entertaining play. You know, I mean, to be honest, because it's just a waste of time. It's just like y'all just screaming and yelling about the same damn shit. I can't even recall. I heard the stupidest thing. I peeked in the nest, and the girl uppity gonna sit up there and says something about her having a house. Plus, people must think she have a house because they see her daughter playing on a trampoline. I was like, you know what? I'm out. That's it. I'm done. I'm like, that's it. Stupid. Just. And then I listen to Jay Dunn, and Jay Dunn is justifying working with racists because of whatever she got going. Like, it's just like y'all so stupid. Like it's just like what you justify working with a racist or giving a racist pass because you're your own. And it's just like, yo, really. Anyway. So let's talk about some real world news. Listen, y'all, if y'all ain't got your ID, it's called Real ID. I think the deadline is Wednesday. You won't be able to travel domestically unless you got to have a star. So you have to have either a black or yellow star at the top right corner of your ID. So if you don't have that, then you can't travel within the United States, um, especially on a plane. Now, I don't know if they pull you over and you ain't got it. I don't know what's going to happen in that situation. I don't know if you get a citation or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what happens, but I know you got to have that ID to board a plane. Also, they said, I guess if you have your passport, then that might justify. That may go too. But I just think that a lot of people are going to be caught off guard. Now, I don't know if they're going to allow them to travel, but they said they've been trying to put this into place for almost since 9/11. But they held off on it for 10 years just because of how hard it is and the difficulty behind it. So y'all, if y'all don't, y'all need to get y'all a real ID. You got to go to, I guess, to the DMV and get your a new ID. And like I said, you got to have it's a star at the top right corner. It's either black. I heard it's either black or yellow. So, and if you can't board a flight and all that. Next up, listen, everybody talking about $1,000. Well, Trump said if you're a migrant, then he'll give you $1,000 to deport yourself. But the crazy thing is, they're gonna give you $1,000 once you are over there, like once you are in your country. So they say you can self-report on the app. Like what? So I guess you gotta, and they'll give you a month to get your affairs away, squared away, and you can leave, and all that stuff. I guess I was like very interesting because they said it takes almost $17,000 to I guess, do it the way using ice. So they think that if they will give you $1,000, and you only get the $1,000 once it's verified that you are in your home country and you have deported. So I'm like, that's very interesting. I'm like, I don't think many people are gonna do that, but we'll see. Alcatraz. So Trump is saying that he opened up Alcatraz once again. Alcatraz is in, they say, in the Bay, San Francisco Bay, so it's surrounded by water. If you ever seen the movie The Rock, which is a really good movie, that movie was filmed, I think, partially on Alcatraz or on Alcatraz. So it used to be a prison to house the most notorious people, but it was too expensive to keep it up and all that. It's very cold, harsh conditions. So I don't know why. I mean, I didn't even. I didn't. He has some. They say he has some weird reason. I didn't even read the reason. I was tired. I was kind of frustrated at that point because they got to build Alcatraz back up. So that's wasted money. There, you got to build Alcatraz when it's back up. Then he said he wants to make it bigger. Like, how you gonna make Alcatraz bigger? Like, I don't. But anyway, so that's where he wants to send the most notorious, heinous criminals and villains to Alcatraz. So I don't know. So if you, it's just scary. Um, NBA playoffs. They into the second round now. New York beat, who was it? They played. Damn. I just read it. Oh, Boston. I don't like Boston. I'm off with New York. It was a good game. It was a thrilling game. It went into overtime. Um, so I know there's a lot of New York people from here, but it'll be good to see New York be in the playoffs. I mean, well, they're in the playoffs, but at least always get to that. At least get to that championship because they haven't been. I think the last time they were in a championship, they got swept. So it'll be good to see them if they advance. But I don't know. It's a lot of tough teams in the East and the West. So we shall see. We shall see. All right. The other thing I'll talk about is the movie Sinners. I saw the movie. I'm gonna kind of give y'all a spoiler. Spoiler. Looking back on the movie, it was good. It was good. I'm gonna just say it was good. I myself personally felt that they should have gotten to the movie. I understand they had to lay the foundation, but I wish they would have kind of sped through that a little bit and gotten to what was towards the middle and towards the end. Now it is very sexually suggestive. There was some nasty scene in there where the boy talking about, oh Lord, he wanted to eat the lady coochie, but the lady said, "I need to clean up." He said, "No, I just want to taste it." And I'm like, "Lord have mercy." And they I was like, these nasty ass freaks. But anyway, it was a very interesting story. I mean, just pretty much to tell you, be careful who you invite into your circle because they can lead to destruction. But what would be really cool is if they were to do a remake of that movie in modern day. Now, if they would do a remake of the movie of Sinners in modern day, that would be good. I think that would be a really good, because the movie is set around a time of, well, right when you come out of right when you come out of slavery, sharecropper days, and so forth, when black people are just getting their freedom and so forth. Um, So I would really enjoy if they were to transform that movie into modern day, because that would really be a good Halloween movie. I really think if they were able to do that, because it deals a lot with demonic stuff and music. And when I was watching it, you kind of think, because when you watch the movie, you'll understand the boy, well, I don't call him boy, the young man, he's a how can I say, he's a musician, and his daddy always tell him that the musician is the devil's tool or something like that. And then when you apply it to today, you're like, oh, that's interesting. When you think about Diddy and all that other stuff, it's like, oh, very, very interesting. But I'm not trying to tell y'all the whole movie, the spoiler, but it's just very interesting. What's up, Ray Black? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. And I mean, also the movie highlights the talent of black people. Like, you just, cause I mean, there is there is the component of black and white in the movie. I'm just not. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna even lie about that. But there is a component of black and white, and then you can see that black people are very talented in that movie. Um, you have to see it. Because child, there's one part where the black people are actually singing, and here come the white people with their banjo, and it's like what in the heck? It was just it was a very interesting movie. Um, so yeah, I would say it's definitely a movie to see. I would like to see them remake in modern times because I think it would be cool to see that. And that's all I'm really gonna say. That's all I'm really gonna say about that. It's a lot. Also it's a lot of things that they to me that leaves you wondering, huh? But that, I guess you got to watch it twice to figure that out. What else I want to say? I myself personally have been I've just been very stressed. I don't know why. I just think because ugh, I've been very stressed because I don't. When I look at the administration under previously, it was like the administration tried to make sure they didn't cause economic collapse. And now when I look at the administration now, it's just like they don't give a damn. Like it's just like they don't give a damn. It's just like I don't know. It's just like it's just so much. It's so much going on with the economy, China, and I know you can only worry about what you can control. But to me, it's just like we sit in. It's the calm before the storm. That's what I honestly feel. It's the calm before the storm. We sitting up here thinking that everything's cool, but they're showing us on social media that the ports are empty. The ports are like not having as much business as they should. China's struggling. We already had problems before this happened. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like, oh, we could just undo this. We already had problems before they happened. Um, it's just gonna get crazy out here. Like what? Like, it's just, I don't know. I just always had a universal spirit, meaning that I could tell when something was amiss, and y'all could tell. Like if y'all been following me for a while, I've been saying this for a couple of years already that something don't feel right. Even when it started with that whole Ukrainian war, a little couple months before that, I just started saying something's don't feel right. So I don't know. I don't know. But what else I want to say? Okay, so getting into the news that you cannot absolutely use regarding Deanna and Heidi. Like, damn, Deanna, what? I just want to know, Deanna, what did Heidi do to you? And you know what's crazy is that Heidi done pissed off a lot of people. And I guess I don't watch Heidi and I have not watched Heidi. And I guess I can answer my own question if I go over there and look. I don't even know her damn channel. But it's like, damn, what have you caused or what have you said for these people to hate you like that? Like, they going in on your child. They not giving a damn about the community guidelines. They're not doing nothing. They are just disrespecting you, your child, your husband, your mama, all that stuff. I'm like, damn. But you gotta be careful what you say about people because they don't give a damn. So I guess like I said, Deanna was going in on Heidi pretty harsh, all that shit. I was like, ooh, child. All right, anyway. But that's the women's battles. Rick Reed posted some clip with Heidi's child struggling to open up a plastic bag or something. Now you gotta understand that back in the day, Heidi or her, whatever. Well, Heidi's son was struggling to open a plastic bag, and they just went on his cognitive and intellectual and motor skills because he wasn't able to do it. But shit, you gotta understand, it's sometimes hard to open them plastic bags when they seal because the job of the seal is to make sure that they can never get open. So I was like, what? And then the baby finally opened the bag. I was like, so what is the point? But anyway, that's people trying to sit up there and spin a narrative on a certain situation that they've been I guess how can you say um, slandered by Heidi? I don't know. All right, what's the other thing I want to talk about real quick before I get going? Is there was something else I want to talk about? Oh, Kiki and Octavius. So they over there. I guess they done struck Pizarro, but they put in a privacy complaint, and then because I guess during Pizarro's live, Kiki was up there and her daughter was in the background. I don't know, but somehow they were able to sit up there and get put a privacy complaint in or whatever. And they said Pizarro freaked out because she ain't never had one of those before. She probably thought privacy meant her privacy was gonna get invaded, and they found out who she is. I don't know, but anyway, I guess they got her page with that. But a privacy complaint is just saying that, oh, somebody's claiming that you're violating their privacy, revealing personal private information, doing your live. Please blur it or take it out before YouTube take it out. That's all that means. It ain't no big whoopee or whatever. So, but it's interesting that one person who's been kind of hurt or hindered by the YouTube strike game is Brian. Brian ain't been, for what I say, ain't been nowhere to be seen. And I guess because he got his page struck, so therefore he decided to take a hiatus. But oh, and then somebody who monetization got taken. Somebody monetization, maybe Dory's, I don't know, got taken. So it's a lot of stuff. Like I said, just stupidity that people are doing to that's not even entertaining. It's not even entertaining and not even fun. And that's about it. I don't know anything else. Y'all know anything else? That's about it. I don't know anything else. I am gonna share that story with y'all eventually. I'm thinking about reviving my Avatar Nation channel because like with the recession, we kind of already been through this shit before. You gotta have multiple streams of income, right? So I'm thinking about using my Avatar Nation channel, just starting that back up, and maybe potentially using that as a potential another means of income because people don't. I mean, what's crazy? I know I'm jumping all over the place, so please follow me. But in order for them to cut the interest rate, people are going to have to lose their jobs, which is effed up in my opinion. Right? It's effed up. Like it's a no win situation. There's no way that they're going to lower the interest rate with the economy coming in. Like because the job numbers they said on Friday did very good. Whatever, believe it if you want to. But therefore, that gives no reason for the federal for Jerome Powell to cut the interest rate. So that means people got to lose their jobs. So that means you got to have a multiple hustles expeditiously, you know, and get ready to enact on them. So, like I said, I'm gonna start my Avatar Nation page up, and I think what I'm gonna do over there is I'm just going to just do more in depth real world news content. That's it. Just like the beef sector will be mentioned in very small detail. Like if I need to say that, oh, they found an alien and they thought the alien was Tracy. That's it. I'm not going to go into too much beef over there, but I'm just going to say, oh, they saw somebody that couldn't fit in the airplane, and they said it looked like Jay Wilson. That's it, and they just keep going because I just think I just want to do that like that story about the AI story about I was telling you in the metaverse where they think about putting if you get an essay in the metaverse and they think about having real world consequences for that, I think I may just do that story over there. And then if I do that, then I'll just mention it over here briefly and drive the traffic over there. That's what I think I may do. So, because I gotta, read the writings on the wall, and with this fool, dog. Let's be honest. It feel like we already been 2 years into the presidency. No lie. It feel like we've been almost 2 years into the presidency, and uh, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. All right, I'll think about it about 32. What's up, Miss Magnificent? Hopolina, how you doing? Good to see you. Hope you doing well. Appreciate you. Oh Lord, what does my stalker want? Girl, I did my part too. Come and laugh so you can stalk me. So there. Um, So yeah, so that's about it. So that's my game plan. That's what I figured that I'm gonna start trying to do over there. I know I said I had done it before, but I really think I'm gonna do it because, like I said, it's like I'm seeing writing on the wall, y'all, and I'm not trying to scare y'all, but they're like, oh, we got a May, June, July is when we gonna see things start, and we in May when we gonna see things just start cratering because you're really gonna start seeing stuff from the tariffs. Then on top of that, like I said, we weren't doing too great anyway. GDP has shrunk, which is gross domestic product is shrunk already, but they trying to prop stuff up. They trying to stop prop stuff up. You know, I mean, it's sad that like it's crazy how Elon came in there, cut them jobs with Doge, and then runs out and says, "I'm gonna go back to Tesla." I think if you were one of those people who literally lost their job from Doge, like he came in, cut his job, came in, caused some mayhem. Now he gets to run back to his own company. Like that's messed up, bro. That's messed up. It's just like I don't know. I don't know. Just put your faith in God, and I don't know. So, uh, mm, and I'm just getting tired. It's just to be honest, just getting tired of people. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm getting tired of people. Like I was out with somebody. Sorry, last I said was, do you want to go out and eat? And dude took me offline. I like, child, I know I paid my bill. I know I paid my bill. Miss Magnificent says exactly, and please try to keep up with the news because we may wake up to the lights off in America. So Miss Magnificent, you know what? I bought me a survival book from Amazon. I sure did. Like I bought me in a survival book. Now I haven't started reading it, but a survival book. See, Miss Magnificent, you saying all the stuff that I wanted to say but did not say because I didn't want to come across as negative. Because as a content creator, you don't want your content to be too negative. I know some people come to me because we do a lot of light-hearted joking stuff. So I didn't want to say what you just said, but what you just said was rubbing foreign leaders the wrong way. You know, you know, just rubbing leaders the wrong. And that's the thing. Like, so this is the thing that bothers me. It's okay if he would have come in and said, "I want to put tariffs to make up for the trade deficit," right? But he came in blasting people, and what people don't understand is what's big is respect. Like I had a situation this weekend. Some dude said something to me. It wasn't disrespectful, but I told him, "Don't disrespect me," because I saw in which the tone he was talking to me, it was disrespectful. And it was about to get disrespectful if I matched his energy. So I said, "Don't disrespect me," and I walked away from the situation. At the end of the event, he came to me and said, what did I say? Now, he was a foreigner. I'm a black man. Some foreigners don't like look at black people or think they could talk to black people a certain way. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Okay. So I said, don't disrespect me, but I said it in a way that was just stern and not disrespectful and all that. And then I walked away. And then he comes to me at the end of the event and says, what did I say that was disrespectful? Well, I told him what I felt. He said, oh no, no. But I could tell by his reaction that he knew I was right and he was wrong. And he was reflecting on that. He was reflecting on how he talked to me. And he knew he was wrong because he had an immediate sense of contrition. And when you write, you're not gonna have an immediate sense of contrition. You're gonna be like, oh no, 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 no. But his rebuttal to me was like, oh shit, maybe I was, but I didn't mean to be. So what I'm saying when I said about Trump, Trump came disrespectful to a lot of world leaders, right? Who, let's just be honest, America, they don't want to be on top no more. I told you already, it's something called the de-dollarization of the dollar. They're tired of having everything compared to the dollar. They got to trade in the dollar, all that stuff. So they're tired of America being on top anyway. So when they see that you're in a weak spot, your disrespect has been less inclined to motivate them to help you get to back on your feet, right? And I feel that Rump has caused a lot of, like they said, our allies who we've been there for, right? You can immediately say, well, I was there for you when you was down. I was there for you when your country was about to be taken. I was there for you when there was almost a coup, all that stuff. But that's gone out the wayside because just like he tried to sit up there and punk Zelensky. Do you think Zelensky respects that? Hell no, because he was like, yo, you pretty much Zelensky was saying you better be lucky that you were surrounded by water. Because if you weren't surrounded by water, pretty much he's saying that people who don't like you would have set up here and taken your country from you or come together to do so. That's pretty much what he was telling Trump. And Trump was like, you better be grateful. You better be grateful. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like people are always waiting for an opportunity to take your spot. And they may be seeing this. And don't, let me just say this, don't put it past the people in power to be against their own country. Because some people may feel they've been wronged by their own country and may unite with certain forces. If you know you got a force for Asia that tried to get ahead of us in AI, why are you like doing what you're doing? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you sitting up here taking all the research grants away from Harvard? Let me say it again. Why are you sitting up here taking all the research grants from Harvard? While Yang Chao University over there in Shanghai is now using that time to get a step ahead. See, Miss Magnificent, I can't say certain things, but you can see what I'm saying. Why are you hurting your own country to give other countries an advantage? And that's all I'm gonna say. Why hurt your own country to give other countries an advantage? Blatant advantage. They now talking like they now talking we gonna be number three. They said China gonna be number one, the EU gonna be number two, and we gonna be number three. And I'm like, but by design though. And let's, like I keep saying, take it one step further, y'all. The CDC, he got rid of that. We got that bird flu running around. We got that measles running around. I honestly feel, don't be surprised if he's sitting up trying hoping for that stuff to manifest to take us out. I'm just, I'm just, I'm just, I'm just. Mm. Let me tell you something. When your president come online, and I can say this because he said it. When your president come online and says, "Oh, your children instead of 30 baby dolls for Christmas, they only need two," he know what he doing there. He know what he doing. He don't care, and he don't care if it hurt y'all. See, because that tell me that you call that when somebody remarks about children and how children are not going to have what they need, that shows me then and there that the kind of cold and callous, right? Because baby dolls is a luxury. What about Similac? What about all the other stuff that a child may? Oh well, instead of the baby having 5 diapers, he only gonna have one, and then you better go clean it and reuse it. What? Like he didn't say that, but I'm just saying, like, yo, how far is that mentality gonna go? Dear Self says, we gotta get you a Dante Neurals band class. There's too many niggas testing you. You're too big for this. Keep happening shit. I'm a woman and no one does that to me as an adult. Dear Self, you don't know a lot of what I'm saying about, which is why the mental image of niggas testing me is what you think, but they don't test me. They don't test me. They know not. See, it's different. Men could be all bark to a point. Men know to shut up. You could be all bark, right? There's a lot of people who bark because they want you to hope that you have low emotional intelligence, so you put your hands on them and then they could catch you up civilly and criminally. Right? That's what some people know. Right? But you gotta understand, I give that bark right back to him. See, a man tests another man based on his reaction. Right? And I'm very slow to anger, but I see you. So while you barking at me, I'm preparing what I'm gonna say to do to shut your ass down. At 9.5 out of 10, unless the motherfucker's just crazy, it works. Because I let you say so much that when I come up and say what I need to say, you shut the fuck up. You do. You just shut up because you're like, damn, he is right. I say, you keep coming at me and I ain't say shit to you. Now, if I was to say shit to you and things go left, it would be my fault. And then they reflect on that and they don't say nothing. Because they're like, damn, I did say all this to him and he didn't say shit back to me. So I'm the problem. And 9.5 out of 10 times, they get the point that you're the issue, not me. Because I'm trying to be cool, calm, copacetic, and peaceful. But you on that rah-rah, and I'm not on that rah-rah time, but you got something against me. So, but thank you for your care and concern. Yeah, it is getting weird. It is getting very weird, Miss Magnificent. It's very weird. I'm just reading stuff day to day, and it's just you just gotta be careful what you put on social media. They're using social media to scour what you're saying. Like I'm telling people right now, shit, I wouldn't put nothing bad about the president of the United States on social media. Nothing bad. Because all that stuff with AI can be quickly analyzed. Look, they're doing a whole AI recap of our lives, right? I won't put nothing bad on AI that's blatant like that shit. Like, cause you never know when that shit may come back. Cause if he put any order in that says that, oh, you've interfered with, or you've interfered with the peaceful process of our nation through your commentary and rhetoric about the president. Okay, and you got a title up there that says romp this, man. It's just it's getting very weird. Nice people finish last. That is why you keep having gym altercations. Big balls run the show. Learn and be a pit bull and bite till you get some flesh. Okay. Good night. Make sure you go see Sinners, dear self, because you definitely sound like one of them women up there in the movie. Yeah. So Both 32 says, I definitely understand you. SK Miss Magnificent says, yes, I have been stationed in Korea and they are steps ahead of us for sure. What's up, Mommy Popo? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. What's up, Mickey Baby Green? Um, so Miss Magnificent, you gotta understand that why. Why are they if we supposed to be number one, why are we like behind the technology and progression? And I feel like to be honest, it's the old heads at the table who don't want to relinquish their space at the table. That's how I feel. Because they're like, shit, this new school coming in, they gonna get a piece of the pie that's always been mine. So let me stall that. Like they were saying, look at all the people in government. They need to move on. Like they need to move on. Let me put some new blood in there, new vibrant that ain't so like insecure about losing a spot. And that's what I feel right now. You got the old heads at the table who don't want to relinquish their spot. And therefore, from a technological standpoint, we stagnated in embracing technology while our counterparts or I guess our opponents are light years ahead of us. For real, because I'm looking into that whole crypto thing, cryptocurrency thing, because I don't want to get AMC'd again. Like I don't want to get AMC'd again. And I'm like, the only way I, as a black man, could get ahead in this world right now, ain't working no motherfucking 9 to 5, ain't being in no C-level suite, is about being in something at the forefront before it explodes, right? It grows to be something like you wish you would have got in, but did. So I do my investigation and I'm like, okay, why is this taking so long to get integrated in the United States? Where over here they're saying that they're doing transaction in Japan and all this other stuff, and they trading in Bitcoin in Africa. What is going on? Right? And so I always do my and I see like these countries that's supposed to be inferior to us are using technology way ahead of us. What I always say is like, I think youthful and innovative ideas in growth countries are quickly embraced in those developing and growing countries than they are in the United States. Because what? The old heads don't want to lose the position at the table. Like Warren Buffett, who they say is the greatest investor of all time, he's stepping down at the end of the year. But still, again, they got a man, and no offense, they got a person who's about to embrace him. I mean, sorry, not embrace, replace him. He's 68 years old. And everybody's like, well, damn, shouldn't his ass be getting ready to retire? I don't know the man. I don't know. He may have kept himself up. He may be mentally sharp. In honesty, I think age is just a number. And I think that sometimes we put too much on a number rather than looking at the person and the experience that they're in. Like, just because somebody young don't mean they fit and ready for that position. And sometimes just because somebody old don't mean it's time for them to go. If they kept themselves up in good shape and they're knowledgeable and they have a great mind, like I'm sorry, Biden had to go because look at his decline now. I was for Biden. I was like, well, what's the problem with him being? But when you're having mobility issues, that you can't be a world leader in that situation because even from a national security standpoint, that causes an issue. So but I just feel like we're so archaic that we need to be more like progressive in our technology. But like I said, like I told you, right now we use a Swift system to do money transfers and all that stuff. They say it's old, it's expensive, and it take too damn long. They want to move into a new system, right? But that means that whoever's getting pushed out with the Swift system is going to lose money. So if I own the Swift system or I'm the CEO or chairman of the board, I'm going to call up all my buddies in Washington. I'm going to call up all my people in power and be like, yo, put some legislation in to stop this because instead of getting my 12 billion I make in a year, I'm only going to make 2 billion. Right? So that's what I feel when you in that situation. That is what causes us to not advance as fast as we should. And then all these other countries are look, y'all, this is a crazy thing. They said they got cheaper and better EVs in China, but the United States won't allow those companies to sell their cars in the United States. So while we thinking that Tesla is the best there is in terms of EVs, they're like, oh hell no. They got better Teslas in terms of range and battery life. Well, range is battery, right? But battery range in China right now. And they don't cost that much. But the United States government won't. So imagine if you actually had competition that made you improve force Tesla to improve their technology in their cars. So all I'm saying is like we are intentionally holding ourselves back. And going back to Trump, we're causing a lot of people not to like us. Even if things do get better, you still strain some things that didn't need to be strained. Then on top of that, like I said, I feel like we've been in the presidency for 2 years and it's only been 5 months. Whoever comes after him is going to have to spend so much time in repairing the breakdown. But y'all, we got 3 more years of this, y'all. And somebody people say, "Oh well, it may get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better." What's better? What's better? If you create a recession, people lose their jobs. It's not like, oh, well, we don't have AI. We don't have AI. They're going to definitely be looking at AI now more than ever to see what they can do that doesn't require no human labor. And get this, you better hope they don't make all of us part timers, right? Because if they make us part timers, you know, when you part time, you don't get no insurance, you don't get no benefits. So they definitely gonna try to make you a part time. So that's why I said like, yo, you gotta always like try to have you 4, 5, 6 hustles. I heard somewhere like the richest people or the people who about that money, they have 7, 7. So I look back and I'm very fortunate. I stumbled upon YouTube. I am because doing I don't want let me tell you something, I don't want to do no Uber. I don't want to do no shit like that. Not saying I'm better, but I ain't have nobody ride behind me. Like I mean sit behind me. I don't have nobody sit behind me. Like I ain't cool with that. I don't want to pull up to nobody's house and drop off no food because you don't know if they're gonna shoot your ass. Or you gonna have to deal with a barking dog or some racist ass motherfucking neighbor. Or whatever else you may have to deal with doing that. Hold on. Ooh, child. Do the TV hear me talk? Hold on, y'all. 1 second. TV done came on. All right, y'all hear back. Y'all hear the basketball in the background. I don't know, but hold on, y'all, because that TV is distracting me. Damn, I cannot find my remote. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. Y'all get the life of Sir King. They talk about the OKC and hold on. Ooh, child. Hold on 1 second, child. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I cannot find my other remote. This is crazy. See, technology. You don't need all that damn technology. I know I got it around somewhere. You're like, sir, can you get it together? Oh my god. I was just playing a video game before I came in, y'all. What in the hell? Hold on. Give me 1 second. 1 second, y'all. 1 second. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right, thank you for your patience. Okay, so I didn't know that the Nuggets almost came back and beat the Thunder. But yeah, so before I came online, I was playing a video game called Avengers, right? I really like because I like well they're not I'm all over the place tonight, y'all. So you're just gonna follow. Excuse me, y'all just gonna follow me. So what I really been missing, like they don't really have third person action shooter games. They have first person, and I really don't like first person. I hate it. I know hate is a strong word, but I recently got a third person game, put it in, played it for 15 minutes, and turned it off. So I really not that. So I refound my Avengers game, which is a really good game. So I was playing that. So, but sometimes I lose the remote because I got to switch in between modes, and so that's what happened with that one. Um, Also, what's bothering me is that situation with that lady. That shit was bothering me today. And I snapped at somebody because somebody asked me about that lady. I said, I don't know her name and I don't want to talk about her because she's just that when you set me up talking about, oh, I want to see you before I leave, then April is done and May is already here and you already plotting and planning to bring me back over there to make me move and help you move. That I don't like that shit. That's that manipulative dear self shit. That's that stuff that dear self does. And I know I've never met dear self in real life, but dear self got some qualities about her that that women in my real life that they have that I do not like. And that's one of them. Sitting up here plotting and planning. And just be genuine. Say, yo, I ain't seen you in a minute. I need some help moving. As a token of appreciation for your helping me move, I'll cook you breakfast. But don't lure me over there. Say I'm gonna cook you breakfast and be like, oh man, I need help. I don't like that, and I understand. I don't have an issue with helping people move, but don't take advantage of me. Like I'm a real nice guy, and people take advantage of me. Like it's just like, oh. So that been bothering me because it's a future date that's not a date, but it's a future date that's coming up that I told her I would do something. I'm just like, no, I don't want. Don't do that. I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to pull on my back. I don't want to be moving this. And to be honest, I hate moving. Moving is some boring ass shit. And it'd be crazy. Like people take advantage of me when they trying to move. It's just like, why y'all trying to do right by me? Like that's just some fucked up shit. Do right by me. Let's just do right by me. Like just do. Why are people trying to? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Cause I'm trying to reflect of all the times I helped somebody move. I remember in high school, This person said, "I give you $100 if you help me move." Help the motherfucker move. And I felt like it took that motherfucker forever to give me my motherfucking $100. And I'm like, bro, like you would have you would have had to hire a whole moving company for what we moved. Then once again in high school, I had somebody move. I helped a teacher move. Her fat ass husband up there ain't doing shit. He up there with an apple in his hand. I was like, you know what? I should just drop this shit over the balcony. But anyway, it's it's crazy. It's just insane. Like it's just like, yo, don't. And I'm slow to anger. Like I'm really slow to anger. Like, oh, sorry, y'all. I'm just venting because I'm just like, why people just can't be 100? Like, you do good, I do good. Don't scheme and scare me. I just don't. I don't know. Oh, so I forgot to tell you about. Okay, so I think I got interrupted with that shit about the restaurant. So like I feel like if you go to a restaurant, everything is not going to be 100% like you like it. Like I could understand you asking to put okay. So if you say you wanted a hamburger and they give you a motherfucking lobster, okay, I understand. Okay, you send it back. You didn't ask for a lobster. So this person I was out with, they ordered a rack of ribs, right? They ordered a rack of ribs. The ribs didn't come back in the manner in which they wanted it. They said it was too tough. Now you hear them stories in the about don't send shit back to the kitchen and I don't never send nothing back to the kitchen unless it's got to be something egregious like a hair on my food or some shit, whatever. So they sent the rack of ribs. They said, "No, I don't want this." They said, "Oh, I'm like, whatever." I'm like, okay. Then they said something about their potato. Their potato was not. I was like, okay, whatever. The potato was not. It was like dark or something. I don't know. So they come back with the rack of ribs, and they're like, "Oh, it's still not." I said, "Whatever." We just at that point, I'm like, just. They decided to just keep it, and then they told her like, "Oh, why is the potato dark?" I was like, "I don't know why the potato dark. Usually, when you cook a potato, the potato is white inside. I don't know why it was an old potato. I don't know." So that shit was stressing me out too because I just don't like doing. I don't like doing that. Like, just like everything ain't gonna be 100%. You know what I mean? So, mm. Let me see. Miss Magnificent says, "Well, Sir King, you have to feel their energy if it's off run." Okay, so Miss Magnificent, I wanted, I like, she was like, "Oh, wow." I told you, I think, I don't know if you were here for that live, but she was like, "What's up, Vanada? What can you call you, Vanada? Vonda TV, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Happy Monday." So she's like, "Oh, I feel like you're not being like, how can you say it? Equally responsive or engaging, right?" And I want to tell her, like, I don't want to tell her, but I do want to. She's like, "Oh, if you don't want to talk, that's fine." Like, I'm never going to tell you that I don't want to talk unless we in an argument. But she's like, "I don't want to talk." She's like, "It seems like you don't want to talk." And then on top of that, she made some sexually inappropriate things, and we not in that way. We not in that way at all. And I'm a person who I really don't like to talk about sex. Like if I don't know you and we not in that capacity, we should not be talking that way. That makes me very uncomfortable, especially very uncomfortable. So she's like, "Oh, a man should be doing something or something 4 times a day. I mean, sorry, 4 times a week." And I feel like that's very off-putting to me because I'm not gonna have that kind of relationship with you, and you should be not worried about my nuts or my balls or my dick or whatever. Like I don't ask you about your lady parts. So why are you engaging me in that conversation? Then I don't want to like really engage with you because it's gonna be always something involved in that damn house and the moving and the shit and stuff like that. Like, when I first met her, I thought like I got played. I really did get played because people present themselves as, "Oh, I really care for you. Oh, yeah, I got your back." Da, 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 da. But they're setting themselves up for future arrangements where they can hold it over your head. Not hold it over your head, but make you think that you owe them for their kindness or whatever they did. And I feel like that's the position that I am in, you know. So I don't like that, and I think it's been weighing on me because I just like that future date. Now that future date comes up, I told her if she got it locked in on her calendar that I would help her. Then I renege on that. Now that gonna make me look bad, make me feel bad because I live by the virtue that my word is my bond. So yeah, these people are crazy. These people are weird out here. Weird. It makes you want to lock yourself in a damn closet. Um, Miss him, Miss King, you have to feel it. Yeah, I read. What's up? I'm good, detached. I'm good. It's just a lot going on in terms of like the spiritual realm. Um, I'm good, bro. 32. I appreciate your concern. I am a nice guy. I am a nice guy, but I'm sometimes too like I'm not a nasty dude. I'm not a nasty dude. I did step at somebody the other day, and she deserved it because she was insinuating I was sleeping. And I said I'm looking at my phone. And the way I said, I'm looking at my phone. Like I get tired of people. Like I just get tired. Stop playing with me. Like I could, because y'all know on these YouTube streets, I could be something else. I could be something. I could come at you real quick with the quick, but I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But people just gotta. Okay, so where were we? Where were Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Denver lost. Oh, wow. Denver lost. Wait. Denver won. Oh, my God. Denver won. My bad, y'all. I'm giving y'all bad news. Denver beat Oklahoma. I thought Oklahoma had won. Wow. Oh, wait a minute. Was it? So, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know if that's an old game, new game. What would be, What's up, Misunderstood? How you doing? Boy, I bet. Now, I ain't coming at you, Misunderstood. But I know you wish you could get that vote back. I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you, but I know you wish you could get that vote back. But then again, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't wish you could get that vote back. I don't know. I don't know. What you sad? Shit, I'll be sad too. If you know anybody that want to self deport, he giving away $1,000, but he got to confirm. He got to confirm that you in your country. They said once they confirm that you in your country, then you get the $1,000. Like what? Anyway, but so yeah, going back to our conversation of about us being so late to the party in terms of technology and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy, but I think it's all by design. It's all by design. It's unfortunate. Um, and what's really sad about this is that other countries are continuing their trajectory to growth, but we're falling back. We're falling back. And what people are not saying is how does this affect charter schools? Because I know if you start eliminating education, charter schools, the kids were getting money to go to certain schools. So how does that? I don't know how that affects them, but it's really crazy right now, y'all. It's really crazy. So, um, people not buying. People not buying. I don't, I don't know. It's weird because at least I say like the other administrations they tried to maybe prop up the economy, but in a way they did their own disservice because they caused inflation. So, but I don't know. Like somebody said, we might wake up with the lights off. Just got back from Nashville, so you wish you would have stayed there. I hope you had a good time. But you know what's interesting is that I feel like calamity, unless it's normalized, will bring us together. Because if we all suffering, it ain't gonna be no white, black, blue, green, Asian. It's gonna be like we all suffering. We need to find a way to get through this together. Um, in adversity, I hate to say this, sometimes brings people together better than times of prosperity. Um, you know, I think that's why we so divided right now. Because we've had periods of prosperity where we could form our own enclaves and don't have to unite. But shit, if somebody got pears over there and oranges, and you got turnips and cabbage, and they need what you got, you forced to come together. You know, but I also hated that globalization. And when they started saying, "Oh, it's a global economy," I'm like, "Yo, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? You closing factories and plants because you can make it over cheaper somewhere else? Like, what?" That's all that was. It wasn't that they weren't profitable. It was that they could make it cheaper somewhere else, but didn't care about their own people they were hurting in their own country. But that's all I got to say. I'll drop my link. What's up, Mickey? That's hello, Mickey Baby. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here, Mickey Baby Green. That's pretty much what I want to say. I just think in the next 3 weeks to the month, in the heart of summer, um, things will get crazy. Things will get crazy. Mm, mm, that's crazy. Yeah, it's yeah. So wait a minute. Why he? If you think about this though, this don't make no sense. So why are you so focused on opening prisons? Follow me, y'all. If you know you gonna cut jobs, what happens when people don't get no jobs? What do? They result to robbing and stealing. So are you preparing to put people in prison and stuff? Mm. Yeah, stealing. So I'm trying to figure out, like, because to me, Alcatraz should be the least of your concern. That nowhere close to Washington. So why are you worried about a prison? Unless you know people during those times, during the recession, people robbing, so you gonna put them there? Like it's something like mm. Yeah. Anyway, so if you want to, feel free to hit the link and tell us what you. I'm sorry, this don't mean to be a gloomy live, but it's meant to be a realistic live. If you're coming in late, please, you must have your real ID by May 7th. If you don't know what the real ID is, it's you need to have your government ID with the star. It's either a black star or a yellow star at the top right, or you won't be able to travel internet. Well, you won't be able to travel domestically by air. I don't know what happens if they pull you over and you don't got it. Also, if you got a passport, then that would do as well. So if you haven't got that done yet, you need to look in doing that because I think that's going to cause you a whole bunch of problems if you need to fly this summer or whatever. I think a lot of people want to get caught up in that and get shocked. But they said they've been trying to implement this for 10 years. I knew they were trying to implement it 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, but they put a halt to it. So please look into that if you don't have it. They said about eight. What is it? Eight. They said 80% of the people have it, but 20% is still a big number who don't have it, who need to have it. Um, so let your friends and family know. Okay. I was talking about the movie Sinners. Said it was a good movie. I'm not gonna provide no spoilers, but it's a nasty part in that movie where the boy wanna where the young man wanna eat some kulala, and the girl said, "Well, wait a minute, I need to go bathe." He's like, "No, I want to taste you, child." I was like, "Y'all some freaks up in here." But it was an interesting movie. I said I would hope for it. I would like to see it in modern times. I think it'd be really cool if they did a modern because it's not the time of the film is not in current day. It's back in the day. The other thing I talked about is $1,000. Rump is asking people to self deport because it costs $17,000 when ICE is involved. So he's asking for them to self deport, and he'll give them $1,000 once it's proven that they've self deported. I know Miss Magnificent. I'm like, ugh. And then Miss Magnificent, they actually showed it, but not showed it like X-rated, but showed enough for you to know what happened. um, no, it's okay, make a baby. She ain't got to. She's still trying to recover from barbecue. Um, and then we talk about Deanna and Heidi, whatever that is all about, and then that's pretty much it. And then we got into real world news and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's all I got to say. Just prepare, get you as many side hustles as you can. Um, another thing is if you can use AI. AI is a great tool, but I feel AI got a personality. It could tell you, it could act like it's your friend, and tell you its logic as to why it should thinking the way it's thinking, which is scary. But that's the thing that bothers me. Why are we messing with something that we don't need to mess with? See, this is the thing that bothers me. They know humans were not meant to be idle. Humans were meant to always be preoccupied with tasks, great things to achieve. Oh, we got a guess. And if you're giving that to a robot, then what's the point? Just understood. How you doing?
I wanted to catch you before you got into your other commentary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so listen, I know you got off of this. Now, I don't know why everyone thinks I'm just for Trump. I am for the Constitution, okay? Do I like everything that's going on? I don't like everything that's going on, okay? But I still think that he hasn't been in office long enough for us to really say and be able to tell how this is going to turn out.
Oh no, I understand that part. A lot of people are saying that it's going to have to get worse before it gets better, but that's not what you said when you. I mean, that's not what he sold a lot of people on. A lot of people didn't know they would be 30-year, 40-year government employees and just have their jobs axed in the way in which it did. I think if he was transparent about that, then people maybe would have second thoughts about their vote.
I think that because I know your chat's ready to get to your other commentary, but I'm gonna say this. I think that what people failed to realize, a lot of people failed to realize, is like when they were talking about sending people back and deporting, they were talking about criminals, right? Talking about, oh, you're welcome, Michael, baby. They're talking about criminals. They're talking about. Do you know what I mean? We weren't speaking of people that's been here and doing whatever. I do feel you have to enter legally, okay? But I just think that a lot of things a lot of people weren't expecting. So I'm just gonna watch. I think it's important to vote for the midterm elections, and if I think that's gonna be a big deal because of who controls Congress right now. There's just a lot that's going on, but I'm just watching. There's a lot of things that I don't like. There's a few things that I like, but I'm gonna hold my opinion until later.
Okay, I can respect that. I can
Yeah.
respect that, but I do feel, from what I can see, that maybe, do you think he's trying to cause a great reset?
Ugh. I think there's a lot of things. You know what? Like, so for me, my big thing is taxes, right?
Mm.
He's, I think y'all heard about the gold card. The millionaire, with tax, the taxes and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of things and a lot of new ideas. But I think when it comes to change, a lot of people are afraid of change because we like what's comfortable. But no, I just can't say, did I ask for Elon Musk when I was voting? No. So I'm just watching. I'm just gonna hold my opinions, watch like everybody else, and just pray for the best for the country. I think that both choices were hard, and I didn't really like everything that either one of them was selling.
I hear you.
All right, I'm gonna get out of here so you can finish your commentary. But I just want to clear that up. I'm
Thank
not
you.
for like old gold Trump and all that stuff. I'm not gonna say that. I'm just like, okay, we're here now, so what do we do?
I hear you. But I mean, but okay, so this is one that really doesn't deal with policy. But what do you think about just his mannerism in terms of the way he talked to people? Like, I feel like he exacerbates a lot of the stuff that happens because of his tone and his conversation, his remarks.
Okay, okay, I can agree with that. I think that he doesn't work hard to be likable. And I'm not sure if he needs to or not. I think that is a problem because it upsets a big group of people. Like when okay, we all know the Pope died recently. So to joke about, okay, I'm going to be the Pope next. Even though we all know he's joking, but a lot of things are just said in poor taste. That's what I think. I think that he says things for shock value, but right now things are just tense. So it's not really the time to joke about stuff.
Yeah. Hello, Urban.
Big dog, what's going on?
What's up, Urban? How you doing? I'm good. I'm good. This
Misunderstood.
misunderstood. Go ahead.
First time I've had the opportunity to talk to you.
Hi,
Uh,
who am I speaking with? I'm on my phone, I can't see it.
His name is Urban. Urban Critic.
Oh, hi, Urban Quick.
yeah, nobody, you don't know me. People just call me Urban, but I've been a long time. Since the pandemic, I pop in on Sir King and,
Okay.
yep, just talk
Nice
about.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. What's going on, chat? I see Mika Baby Green in there. Been a while since I've seen you around, Mika. What's going on? Who else is out there? Miss Magnificent. What's going on? Everybody in the chat.
I would
Uh,
make a baby, but I want to hear him and his commentary. So I'm gonna run. I'm gonna jump down because I want to hear what you were gonna say next. Since I haven't really been in the loop because I've been over there in Nashville. And oh my God, you guys, I had the best. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm gonna run. I had the best time in Nashville. It was a little crazy because I had trouble getting back, but thank y'all for your well wishes. Let me
Hey,
jump in.
before you run, misunderstood. How long have you been? Do you identify as conservative, and how long have you been conservative?
Mercy. Yeah, I do identify as conservative. I'm definitely a right winger, and that is just the way that yeah.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
I've never been a Democrat.
So you've always been your family. Does it come down from your family?
My family is not Republican at all. Mm-mm.
Okay.
My
You
my
can.
friends out my friends are Republican, but no, my family is either Democrat or independent thinker. Like they're independent. My child's father, like the people that surround me most, they're independent. I chose to be Republican. I do consider myself more independent, although I'm conservative. But you can't vote out here in California in the primaries unless you're registered to like a party. So I can't vote in the Republican Party unless I mean, I'm sorry, not the Republican Party. The primaries, I can't vote unless I'm registered. So that's why I register as a Republican.
I
Mhm.
got you. I got you. What? So I just wanted to ask you real quickly before you jump down. What attracted you to conservative ideals?
Well, that's a loaded question, but I'll try to do my best. I
Not a loaded question.
am. It's a loaded. It's a loaded question.
And it's
I'm
not a loaded
for.
question.
How is it not loaded? How can
Because
you tell me what's not a loaded question if you're asking me something that's layered? It's like it is a loaded question because number one, I know how sensitive people are when it comes to certain things. I'm for less government involvement in our life. I don't feel that a government that once oppressed us can save us from our problems. I'm also for protected borders. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
for um traditional. I just have traditional values, but for me to but that's so like basic that I can't really get into it. I'm just a traditional person. I'm for our our rights. Like we have the right to bear arms. I believe in that kind of stuff. So those are the things that's important to myself, and those are the things that's important to my family.
Yeah, that's cool. I think you're so used to being attacked for being conservative that you're on the defense. But I'm not
I'm
one of
not on
those
the
people.
fence.
I'm not one
I'm
of
not
those
on the
people.
fence.
I just wanted to hear your perspective. That's all.
I think that I think that number one, I do feel that we need to protect the borders because we can't go to any other country and just be allowed over there. We can't just show up like here I am. I live in California and I can tell you that what I see at the border, these people just crossing over and there's nothing that's done. Border patrol looks the other way, but there's a lot of children that comes over that's not accounted for. And a lot of people get trafficked into the country. There's just a lot of things. Now, I understand all the other issues that people talk about. I understand it and I think that we all have the same goals as far as protecting our families, being able to provide for our families. We're just on different sides of the fence.
Yeah, you're entitled to. You're entitled to your feelings. I'm not here to attack you, and I would never attack anyone for whatever their political beliefs. I'm just making general conversation. That's all.
I understand, big homie.
The black families have always been conservative in values, right? Christian, strong Christian homes, strong faith in God, um, strong belief in a family unit. We have conservative values. Belief in God, anti-abortion. So morally, the African American community has always been conservative. But
Okay, and how do you identify?
uh, I don't. I can't talk about politics actually, as far as what my personal perspectives
But
are.
you can ask me and you can't talk about it.
I mean, yeah, you have the right to say no, but for me, it's different because of the circumstances of my career. But I can tell you that I'm a Christian man and that I believe in Christian values. That's my perspective.
Okay. I think that a lot of people, although I mean, I do feel the Democratic Party is strong. I feel that there's a lot of conservatives that just don't say it because if there weren't, then Trump wouldn't have won the popular vote. That's all I'm gonna say about that. That was the first time in 20 years that a Republican president has won the popular vote and the electoral vote. But okay, I respect that totally. You have any other? And I think this was a
No,
healthy
no,
exchange. I think this
my
was a
first time
healthy
talking to you. I
exchange.
just wanted to introduce myself and say hi.
Thank you. It was nice. It was nice talking to you.
No problem, no problem.
All right. So, King, thank you for having me up.
Thank you, misunderstood.
You're
Have a
welcome.
great
And
night.
get your real ID. I got mine. Okay. Have a great night.
Get trophies. What happened?
I said, get your real IDs. Get mine.
Oh yeah, get your real IDs. All right, thank you, misunderstood. All right, that's the one of my only misunderstood.
Big dog,
What's up, Urban? How you doing?
what's going on, man? I heard your conversation about the about your women problems.
I'm good. I only deal with certain people with certain values and virtues, and I keep everybody else the hell out.
Okay.
So when those are, when those are revealed, I just don't like it.
Yeah, relationships, man, and even today, I feel like Kevin Samuels, I think, was instrumental in kind of forcing out unspoken issues regarding relationships today. But society's changed so much, man, that it's kind of hard to get a read on a woman, uh, where she is emotionally, um, where she might be, with you as far as a long-term relationship. And a lot of times when we first meet people, and I think you're going through that as well, you know, regarding things, here on YouTube. But a lot of times people will put on you know, a disguise, like in the movie The Mask. It says everybody wears a mask, but it may take you some time to figure people out. You know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
by the time you do figure them out, you're already invested. You know what I mean? You're already invested in there, and
Hmm.
then it makes it difficult to break free. Um, but as men, oftentimes women, society is moving a lot more. If you look at what's on music videos, and this is on both sides of the house, both for the women and for the men. So this is whole thing on the female side of the house about women wanting a guy who has a certain amount of money. I'm not even going to talk to you unless you're making a certain kind of money. And it's this whole thing about getting a guy who's, you know, cash rich or baller, and then using men, right? All these female rappers rap about using, pretty much turning guys into living walking, talking ATM machines. So culture has a huge influence on relationships as well. And then you have the guys that are influenced by this, and so they might go out and do something illegal, try to keep up with the Joneses, try to present themselves a certain way. Um, so you got all these dynamics going on when it comes to relationships. Which is why I think it's best to, my upbringing is in the church. Not saying that because church women are sinners as well. I've met plenty of hoochies and heathens in the church, but
Uh,
but there's a moral ground to start there. There's some rules, some biblical principles to start with, and that's always a good place to start. But anytime you feel like you're being used, um, that's always a huge red flag, man. And big guys like me and you, if you're 6 foot plus, I'll tell you a funny story. My wife, so I don't know if this has ever happened to you. I know this has happened to you before because you're 6 foot plus. If you ever you've had, I know you went through this experience before, being someplace public like a grocery store, and somebody asked you, can you grab that for me? Can
hmm.
you grab that for me on the top aisle, on the top row? You ever been through that before?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's happened to me, trillions of times. And since I've been married, I didn't know my wife was kind of keeping stock of this. Like when we're out shopping, and a woman will ask me to grab something for them. So finally, my wife was like, "What is it with these?" It was Caucasian. It has always been in my circumstances, always been Caucasian women. She's like, "What is it with these Caucasian women? They keep asking you to grab stuff for them. Like some of them are with their own husbands." She said, "They need to stop asking you to get stuff." Just on a
Hmm.
little bit of jealousy, you know what I mean?
Right.
Um, she was saying, my wife had an interesting perspective. She was saying because you're a black male, there's always this sense of, that we have to be servitude to the Caucasian race. That was her. My
Mm.
wife's African, but that was her perspective. Is that they want to put you to work. They see a big strong buck, they want to put you to work. And she was like, the next time a woman asks you to grab something, I'm a I'm a
Mhm.
snap on them. My wife doesn't curse or anything. She was like, I'm gonna
Mhm.
snap on them. She said, you need to stop being so nice and just tell them, no, I'm not getting anything for you. Get it yourself. Ask your husband to get it for you.
Yeah.
But I said that to say that, when people seek to use you, man, if someone is always looking to use you for something or manipulate you in some kind of way, those are the red flags that you need to run. And there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong, man, with just deleting a person's, contact information. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm very sparingly allow people in my circle.
Mhm.
I've always talked about on your. It's something I've always preached my whole life, but you've heard me say this before about your inner circle. Look at the five closest people to you. She would be one of those people, right? She's been to your house, you've been to her house. You want to evaluate those five closest people to you, and if they're causing you anguish or pain or stress, or those red flags are coming up, they those are people that need to be moved. And you're constantly evaluating this circle, but you want to put a circle of people around you that are going to care for you, right? And want to see you succeed. My grandfather, I make this example before online on my podcast, but my grandfather was saying that the men, as you mature and become a man, the men that you have in your inner circle, these are men that you can depend on if you lost your home, if your home got wiped out in a tornado. These are men that wouldn't have any question about moving you and your whole family into the house until you got on your feet. These are men that are willing to give you a loan with no questions asked. If you got into a financial situation and you needed food or you needed money, these are men that would say, "Hey, man, I got you. Whatever it takes to get you back on your feet." These are the kind of people you want in your life. And users, man, are experts at using. It's manipulation. So what happens is when people think that you're too nice, so you got to wear your heart on your sleeve. Users can smell that, man, like a shark smells blood, and they seek out people that they think are easy to manipulate. So be
Mm.
aware of that. Be aware that you will attract when you present yourself as a nice guy. You automatically attract users. So you just have to learn how to uh, weed them out and not let them in.
Right.
Uh,
Well, I agree.
it's a learning experience, but just be aware that most people, if you were raised as me being raised as a young Christian man, my family was a very strict. I come from a very strict religious background. I've said this before. I come from a family of service. Either you're military or you're in the ministry.
Mhm.
But I was raised as a young man with Christian values. But um, I learned very quickly that people try to seek out people they think are easy to get over on. And you just got to learn how to pick them out and keep them out of your circle.
No, I agree. Well, I agree.
What's Soul Sister saying? I'm always asking the tall guy for help if I can't read something. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, I've been asked so many times to grab stuff off the top aisle, and it'll be random. Like I'll just be in the grocery store and be like, excuse me. I'm like, I don't know this person well. You know what I mean? And I'll be
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, can you grab that orange bucket on the top shelf? But don't be discouraged though, man, about people that are users. Do you know what I mean? You just got to get better at discerning those people, and don't feel guilty for cutting them off. You know what I mean? Because they're not gonna feel guilty when they take from you
Hmm.
and they get the advantage of what they took from you. They don't feel bad about that. They have zero conscience about taking from you. Zero conscience about them at all. Uh, so don't feel bad about cutting people off that shouldn't be in your life. Um, I was
I
listening.
agree. I agree.
I was listening to your story about when you took the girl out to eat and she kept complaining. And this is a perfect example where I cut somebody off. So I took this girl out to dinner. This is before I was married. I took this girl out to dinner, and it was a very high end soul food restaurant. And I saw uh, you know the reviews online, and it sounded really good. And I was like, this sounds like a great place. So I always like to find unique places to eat. And the chef had a great background. And I was like, okay, this sounds like a great date night. So it was grand opening night. I took this girl in there, um, and this was when I was in college. And she ordered this seafood. She ordered some kind of dish that had salmon and shrimp and pasta. And so when the salmon came out, she was like, "This is not done.
Mm,
This is not done to my liking. I asked for it well done." And so she sent it back. She ended up sending her salmon back 3 times, right? And so on the third one, after she sent the third one out, I was like, you need to order something else because this is ridiculous. You haven't even had your meal. I'm done with my meal, and you're still sending back your original meal." It's like, "Well, I'm just very picky, and I don't like no raw fish." And I was like, "Oh man, this was a bad move." But I didn't, obviously you don't know till you take somebody out. I didn't know she was
mhm,
was picky. So after that date, I let her. I said, "Okay, go ahead, get what you want." I recommend she get something else. I said, "Try the steak. Steak's easier to get well done. You can see it. If it's not burnt, you can see if it's well done. And chefs usually have an easier time in cooking steak." So, um, but when I took her home, as soon as she got out, I walked her out of the car, walked her to her door. I got back in my car, and before I cranked the engine back up, I deleted her phone number.
I don't blame you.
I deleted that number, and that was it. Goodbye. Um, and I'm very slow to invite people to into my inner circle, into my home. Like when I was out there dating and stuff, like I just had this rule that you just don't come to my house. And I
Mm-hmm.
had females, in my dating life, I had women ask me, "How come you never invite me to your house?"
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, "I don't know you well enough to invite you to my house, and I don't want to go to your house. Not interested in going to your house." That's just
Mm-hmm.
how I was raised. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
don't let people find out where you live at until you know them, and you really don't know anybody until you've been around them for at least 2 years.
right.
I'm talking about in person, not online.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in person, it may take even longer online, but yeah, I just was not one of those people to invite women to my home. Period. And I think that's good dating advice, like for men and women. Like, don't bring people around your family, your children, anything. Don't pull people into your inner circle until you've fully vetted them. That goes in your personal life and also goes for your online relationships as well. Be careful about the people you pull into your circle, man. There's a lot of sharks out here, and they will reveal their true character. What I call the wolf in sheep's clothing. The true character will come out. But users, it's a mental illness. Um, they're narcissistic, and they don't have a conscience. They're sociopaths, and sociopaths. The internet is full of sociopaths, man, and they're gonna seek you out to take advantage of you. But that's
Why can't we live in a better world? Lord have mercy.
yeah, life is that's why life is what you make it.
Mm.
Um, and I agree with you though. It seems like there's a lot of negativity in life. But I want to share a scripture with you, man. This is Romans 8:17. Since we are his children, we are his heirs. In fact, together with Christ, we are the heirs to the glory of God. So, what that's basically
But
saying
what
is
about the bad children?
those are the ones that you gotta, to keep away. You know, if you
What are they the heirs to? I mean, they don't deserve to be heirs.
the heirs to Satan and sin,
I guess so.
But Proverbs, man, if you read, as a young man, my mother had me deep in that book of Proverbs. She and if you read Proverbs, man, you don't have, if you don't feel like reading it, you can listen to it. But it's all about talking to the young man. And what happens is the principles start getting into your mind. So as a young child, I had these principles being developed in my mind, from as soon as I could read. And so
Right.
your interactions with people socially, these things start to become part of your moral fiber.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? They talk about being rooted in the word, but these things have to become part of your moral fiber. So when you judging people around you, these types of things will come to the forefront of your mind. You start developing discernment, and you'll become better at judging people around you because of those biblical principles and spiritual principles. But Proverbs, man, just listen to it. You can listen to it when you go to sleep. You can listen to it when you're driving. But there's a lot of principles in there, man. They'll start building up your character.
No, I agree. I used to always read Proverbs and Psalms. I still do.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So, you plan on? You said you got another date coming up with this chick. Do you plan on?
it ain't that. It wasn't that date. It's she put me in to move stuff at her house. And I don't. I'm not. I mean, that's caused me some anxiety because that is a date that I committed to, right? But your word is your bond. But I don't. I want to get. You know.
Yeah.
I don't
Shit,
like being.
that's another thing about being a big guy. You know how many times I've been asked to help people move stuff? Hey, you're a big guy.
Yeah.
Oh, we're moving Saturday. I'll give you $5.
Yeah. Exactly. That's crazy. I don't. That's like. I know
Yeah,
you got to be there for people, but it's just like no, I don't like the circumstances in which it went down. That's my just be straightforward, and honest with me. Don't be deceptive. You know.
yeah. I feel you, man. That, in life, unfortunately, a lot of times, like I was saying, it just takes time. Most of the time, what you meet, and evil is attracted to the light. Evil is attracted to the light. So I'm saying that because you're going to attract evil.
No,
Your
don't
evil
tell
is
me that.
attracted to the
I
light.
thought evil was attracted to evil. I know. He said opposites attract. I know. Mhm.
It's just the spiritual principles, but because they're looking to destroy. The Bible talks about you know evil looking for whom it may destroy. It's a constant prowling, looking for destruction.
Mm.
But those are tests, man. Those are good tests, right? You
Right.
should you should count it all joy when you're tested because it's building you up.
No,
And
no,
so building your armor. Go ahead.
no, I agree. I understand what you're saying. It's just, you know, I don't want
Mhm.
to. I don't,
Soul Sister says, I believe you can have fun with a guy without dating a guy. Yeah, yeah.
what's up, dirty laundry?
One way
Yes.
you can test a female. I remember I was dating this girl in college, and I decided that to test her, I decided that I wasn't going to spend any money on our dates.
Mm.
So I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find interesting things that we can do that are free. And so after about a month, she calls me up and she says, I was just talking to my girlfriend. And she was like, you know what? I just realized we've been dating for about a month and you haven't spent no money on me. And that's exactly what I was waiting to hear. Because that was another one of them examples where, as soon as I got her off the phone gracefully and nicely and, you know, delete, not only delete, but block. But it
Right.
shouldn't we don't need to spend money to have a good time together. And why are you looking at how much money I'm spending while we're out together? And that was just a little thing that my mom had said, just go out with the girl. You don't have to spend any money. Just go out, have a good time, and she'll reveal her true colors. If she has an issue with you guys going out and she notices you're not spending any money on the dates, that's one you need to push away. But
Yeah.
a very good lesson from my mom.
Oh, I know the feeling. All that money gone. Popcorn, movies, $180 one time, $180. I was like, I was
You,
mad.
you spent $180 on.
If you talk about movies and then
Yeah.
food and drink and then going out afterwards,
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a lot of money. That's your typical date these days,
no,
man.
that is a lot of
And then
money.
you're not getting that money back.
Right, right,
That's
exactly.
that money's gone, man. And there are women that date for, especially on these dating apps.
Hmm.
They're looking for a free meal. They're not interested in you. They can have a date every single day and go out to dinner every single day. That's one of the that's one of the perks of being a woman. Oh yeah, sure, I'll go out with you. Let's go here. Let's go there. They can try every restaurant they want in the world on
Wow,
guys' dimes.
that's crazy.
Uh, but yeah, it's expensive. But you can be creative with your dates. There's actually websites to talk about things that you can do where you don't have to pay.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Hmm.
one of the days I took that girl on I was telling you about was to a farm that made wine, and they had this one day a month where they give you free wine samples, and it was on a beautiful property, and they had free food and all that, and it was a great day, great time, great view, and all that. But she didn't appreciate it because she was looking to see how much money I was going to spend.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah.
but
No, no.
I'm not gonna
It's
hold you up. You got any questions, man?
no. I'm good. No, I was just. No, we was just talking about the real ID, and then $1,000 for Trump, and then the movie Sinners. And that was just primarily it.
I that movie Sinners. I've been hearing a lot about it. My wife.
You should go see it. Don't bring the kids though. For real, for real. It kind of
now,
raunchy in some of the scenes.
now, my understanding. I'm gonna admit that I don't have
You, you
real
should go
ID.
see it because it's religious. It has a major religious component in it.
I've seen the previews.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the previews. And so it looks like a good movie. It looks like an entertaining movie. Um,
Yeah, yeah. It's got a lot of pieces that I think you would enjoy,
oh yeah.
especially the music and the religion component, the race component,
Hmm.
the dating and the women component in
Hmm.
that. A lot of that stuff that gets happens because of the women, you know,
Hmm.
but the lust factor, the love factor, in that,
How
you
do you
know.
how do you feel about the how do you feel about the research? We talked a little bit about this the other day, but how do you feel about the research studies that say that when you are intimate with a woman, that she takes on part of your DNA, she takes a part of you? Uh, how do you feel about that?
I mean, her DNA, your DNA becomes in her DNA.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I believe that because that's why some people act so damn crazy. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that people are like, damn, why are you acting like this? And I can see it.
yeah.
Mhm.
I've had my share of crazy chicks.
Yeah.
Um, Now, when you start talking about like spirituality and 'cause I know I think the movie doesn't it touch on like it touches on I think African spirituality and voodoo and stuff like that. Isn't that part of the?
Oh yeah. Hmm.
When I dated a
Definitely.
girl, I dated a girl whose family was from Louisiana. She was Creole, and she was telling me how her father had won the lottery a bunch of times by going to visit this old swamp witch.
Mm,
And it's a crazy story. And I was like, "Are you serious?" She was like, "Yeah, my dad knew this lady in the swamps in Louisiana, and you
mm,
had to take a boat to get to her house. That's the only way you could get there." And she said this lady gave him numbers every time something bad happened in his life when he needed money. We go
mm.
see this old swamp. She called her a witch, and she said she'd give him a number, and he would win the lottery every time.
Wow.
But I went to a carnival, and I never should have done this, and I've never done this since.
Uh,
What's her? She's saying, "I don't want to go buy a house." She
No, I was last time what you saying that you should never done it.
Oh
Or
no,
the comment.
I was looking at the comment there.
Mm,
But I was gonna say that so what I should have never done was I went to this carnival when I was dating that girl. I went to a carnival and I talked
mhm,
to like carnival psychics.
mhm,
It's like the woman that you're dating right now comes from a long line of witches.
mm,
This is the girl that I was dating from Louisiana that told me about her dad and all that, and it scared the crap out of me.
mm.
So it doesn't pay to play with things that you don't understand, especially dark, evil
Yeah.
things, sinister things. So that was a learning lesson for me.
Yeah, and the thing with the numbers is like, when is that when will you have to pay? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
What like you getting that money, what will that bring? What else will that bring into your life? So
Yeah, and interesting that you said that because for him, he was never able to be successful. Like he would win a lot of money, but every time he won the money, some type of calamity would happen, and he would lose it.
the curse of that. Mm.
Yeah, it never failed. So
Yeah, I think you should see Sinner. It has a lot of different talking points. You know, it starts off weird, but then once you see why it started out the way it did, it begins to make sense.
hmm, okay,
Yeah. And then music. I know you're into music and stuff, and like I say, relationships and all that. So it would definitely be interesting because when you
all right.
talk about women and the DNA component, that not saying that's directly, but that would definitely it does because you would have to see like when you say DNA, then you will see how the connection is in our discussion. You're like, yeah, now I can see the DNA part. Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
I
and
think
race is a major thing too. So
yeah, I think I know where you're going with that. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Something I was important I was about to say to you. And so as far as the economy, man, and this, you know, where we are moving in the future, I think the biggest thing is that it's already started where the dollar, is being devalued. It's already started. Right? And part of that started with Biden and when he put those sanctions against Russia and
mm,
force him to align himself, with our enemies and to prop up other currencies. You're talking about, one of the biggest factors is, the oil is sold in dollars. That looks
mm,
like it may change. Um, so the change is already in motion. We just have to learn. We just have to see it and figure out strategically, how to stay ahead of it. It's just part of survival. Um, you know, preparation, man. Preparation
right.
is always. I heard you say something about you bought a survival book.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, we got to get back to learning how to uh, some natural things that we just should know. I mean, we've become so dependent on systems around us.
Hmm.
Think about the colonial man. Do you know what I mean? And how he was able to just take an axe, take his wife and children, and walk into the woods and build a log cabin.
Right.
Right? The average guy can't do that today.
No.
You know what I mean? But that was a fact of life for them. Building a house and growing a farm, toiling the land. These were things that were built into men. Look how far away we've gotten from that. My grandfather, and my great grandfather were black farmers, but we've gotten so far away from that, man. Men really don't have any kind of survival skills.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
like to watch, being a military man. I've learned a lot, and I also like to watch survival channels and just learning, you know, different techniques on survival in case you end up in a crazy scenario.
Hmm.
Um, But you definitely need to know how to find fresh water. You
Oh,
definitely
I
need to know
agree. Yeah.
one of the things you need to know how to do. And if you can't find water, you need to know how to clean water.
Mhm.
This could be just because of a flood. Maybe you're living in an area where a major flood happens. You need to know how to clean and purify water. Uh, but growing certain foods should come secondhand.
Right.
So some real simple foods to grow, like potatoes, man, are really easy to grow.
Hmm.
Just question
No,
my dirt.
I agree. The simple things. Yeah, we don't know because we
Right.
live in a world of luxury. Um,
Yeah. Go ahead, Sir King. I see this
30,
question.
yeah, $30. Why did Lemon needed or decided to take that lady's donations while he branded about 10,000 or more on his cash app? Something ain't right. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'll just say all money ain't good money. I mean, just because somebody that's what they have on their cash app, but you don't know what they're using that for, you know. Or let me know your input. Do you think Lemon blew through that 10K that was on his cash app? Um, just because I tell you I have 10K on my cash app don't mean I got 10K. And what I mean by that is taxes.
Hmm.
I can tell you I have 10K, but I have to now half that because of state and local income tax. I mean,
Hmm.
sorry, state and federal income tax. So 10K ain't really 10K. If I say I have 10K, that really means I have 5K, right? And then on top of that, what else? I mean, what else are you? If you basing that on your lifestyle, then that's your main source of income. That's being sucked up. To be honest, if you got to contribute to the rent, whatever else you got, insurance, car note, whatever, that's no money. So while it may seem big, the reality of it is really small. And like I said, I'm very cognizant of who I take money from, especially a large amount, because you never know what the okie doke is. You never know. Like her family knows, yeah, but they don't mean they're in approval of it. You don't know if they'll come back and say they want that money back. So
Yeah. Let me read that question. I want to read that.
I'll put it on the screen. I mean, the best way you just don't like. I always go back to the brown sugar situation. I
Hmm.
told I told them
Good point.
to give that money back to that lady, just because it was so much going on with her. Right? You don't never want to be the cowardice or be thought of as the cowardice to cause somebody to have a mental break or contribute to the mental break. So I said, give it back to her. I don't think it was even that much money, but I said, still give it back to her, and he would not do it.
Mm,
So you know, Jay Wilson feels the same way. Oh, it's my money, it's my money. They gave it. No, you
yeah.
have to think about how much that money is going to cause you pain in the past. You don't know what else is going on with that person. So I don't never want to be caught in something like that.
Hmm.
So
You know what? When you get yourself into a position of where you are accepting money from people, right? Donations, or even it could be a job and where you have an account, an expense account.
mm,
You learn a lot about people's integrity once they have
mm,
access to money. And the whole donation thing, this is what we see being repeated in the church, right? When people are giving you money, once you get that feel, right? You get this, there's a feeling that you get is wow, people are giving me money.
mm,
That's an undescribable feeling to get when people are just giving you money. And so your integrity, your moral character comes into play.
mhm,
And that's where people get in trouble when you see all these CEOs downfall, right? Where insider trading, with creating these, pyramid schemes and shifting
mm.
money from one level to the next and thinking it'll never get caught. Greed is what I'm talking about. It's a tough temptation to beat. This is where your integrity comes in. You can't expect, when if you're being greedy, and you fall into a trap, you know, you set yourself up. You allowed yourself to be set up. You can't let greed mess with your character, right? Your integrity, and that's your moral fiber, your character, man. That starts as a child. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you learn a lot about a person when they become responsible for, for money. You start putting large amounts of money in their hand. People are throwing money at them. This is an excellent way to judge a person's character. Well, how are they going to move? What are they going to do when they start getting money? You see all these pastors getting caught up. What was the one pastor that locked the doors?
Oh
What was
yeah.
his name? Maybe somebody can.
What's his name? Marvin Sapp.
But this is what you see happen to these pastors, Sir King. This
Mhm.
is corruption. This is greed, right? This is what
Yeah.
you see happen. The pastor may start out loving God and wanting to, lead a congregation and do the right thing, right? But
Right.
what happens is the money corrupts,
Mhm.
and the other side of that is, you know, criminal
Yeah.
charges. The other side of it is criminal charges
The other side of it's criminal. Yeah. It's.
or
Right.
lawsuits or lawsuits. People will sue you with a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Um, so anytime you're talking about money, man, and so we're talking about a sector where beefing and there's no rules. So the rules have to come from you. The rules
Mhm.
have to come from your moral fiber, your integrity, your character. They got to come from you. So when you get caught up in those situations, the only person you can blame is who?
Yourself. Just have straight, clear guidelines with that person. But like I was saying, she didn't sound. I mean, she didn't sound too well. Not saying that she was sick, but it was like her comprehension may have been off a little. And yeah, some people may be like, "Oh yeah, I wanna do this for a talent show or whatever," but they may not be comprehending the effects of the loss of that money. So
Mhm. Yeah, you can't let greed cloud your vision. And when all this money is coming in, it happens, you know, very easily. You were mentioning Jay Wilson. I see it with him. The same thing. Like he uses his subscribers like a magic money machine.
yeah, for a water heater. Yeah, Will said he didn't want the water heater. That however he got it, he wanted a smaller water heater. I was like, but whatever. So let's see.
And I think you see this kind of happening throughout the sector. A lot of conversation about integrity and scams and
Yeah,
money. I think once people realize that you can make money on YouTube, once people, in various sectors and in this sector start seeing that, okay, man, people people will give you money.
no,
This is money coming out of thin air
yeah, and
because you don't
the
know
people
these
popped
people.
them. The people popped them for what they were doing. So what they were doing was they would hold the challenges, right? And
Hmm.
then they'll be like, "Oh, give us the money so we can get for the prizes."
Right.
And let's say Bizarro says, I'll do a $300 prize. So
Hmm.
Joe, Mary, John, Jesus, Jesus, and Keisha, they all started sending the money to Pizarro, thinking that okay, I'm gonna help her reach her goal. But she bringing in 700, 800, so she made a $500 profit off of 300 that she promised. So that's why you start seeing so many cooking challenges and stupid challenges, dumb, quiche challenge and all that, just dumb challenges, because they were making a probably in the same amount of money under the perception of that Yahweh helped funding their challenge, and they were bringing in, a boatload of money.
Yeah, yeah. Clearly, because there's no transparency. You don't know.
Uh,
If I tell you right now, Sir King, we'll just use
mhm.
this as an example. with you in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a challenge, and right now the pot's at $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I say it, does that mean that it's so?
No.
And then when the money starts coming in, there's no tally of that. Like you should
Right.
have you should have a website, a link, something where people can watch the running pot. Right? It should be full transparency. Every penny, every nickel, every dime that goes into that pot, it needs to be transparent. Right. And so when people don't know what's in the pot, they're just taking your word for it. This is that gap there, right? This is that
Right.
magical gap
Mm-hmm.
where they make their money at. And it works every time, right? They'll
It
tell
did.
you, okay, well, the pot is at, such and such and such. Well, because of the giving nature of the beef sector, you have a lot of retirees here.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you that the pots are probably 3 to 5 times higher than what they've told you that they cut it off at.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have a lot of retirees here. If you look at your analytics, there's a lot of retirees in the beef sector. So, and just and we're talking about a different generation of people.
Mm-hmm.
As the beef sector starts to age, beef sector is still young, 6 years old, somewhere around there, 6, 7 years old,
Right.
still young. So
Mm-hmm.
the people that these are these retirees. They come from a whole different group of people, right? That they're the generation they come from is nice,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
Yeah.
next generations come along are not going to be like that.
No. Not at all. Very large says SK really. The man drinks and gets drunk on live. I don't think he is thinking about taxes. He should use his own money for the competition. He should use his own money to give back to his subbies. Well, then, I mean, that's you. I'm not coming at you when I say this, but this is you determining the how he should run his business operations. I mean, if somebody wants to finance a challenge for him, that's fine. I mean, I put it out. I mean, I put it out here there to him about taxes. Well, way before tax day, so he wouldn't get shot because he always wants to say, oh, I'm a new content creator."
Mhm.
So, just I don't want him to get Jay Wilson, just like Jay Wilson was shocked about the taxes he had to pay. So,
Mhm.
just be careful. I mean, that's all I was just telling him. Exposing the Truth says, I'll never, that Sinners movie, I'll never watch that again in my life. Some about some about certain parts of the movie was demonic and messed with my spirit for 2 days straight.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I would agree. Some of it's demonic, like I said, they a lot of that was sensed through the music they use and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
it's just you gotta be strong within your religion and protect it. Um,
Yeah, me and my wife have the same background. My wife, she is curious about the movie, but she said those types of things, get in her subconscious, and she doesn't want to allow that type of demonic energy into her subconscious.
okay, then I would tell her
If
don't. I
you
would
remember
tell
as
her
a
don't.
child, if you remember as a child when you watch a scary movie, how it scared you, and your nightmares. My wife is still like a child when it comes to things like that. Like she's influenced by, she'll have nightmares by something that's scary.
I
Like she
got
worries about me when I'm deployed and things like that. Like she's very sensitive to things. You know what I mean?
you. Yeah.
So she'll have dreams and nightmares and stuff. So she's very sensitive. So I agree that I do agree that you can invite things into your life, spiritual things into your life that could mess you up. Things like playing with Ouija boards and
Mm,
allowing certain types of energies, dark energies around you is not a good idea. And playing with those type of energies as well, uh, it's not a good idea.
mm.
Um, there was something I was going to tell you that it was a really good point. What were we talking about before that about
The
deportation?
money and the money and the
Uh,
generation, how generations is gonna be different.
yeah, yeah, for sure. The generations are going to change. The B sector is going to evolve obviously there's no choice, right?
Mhm.
The people that, you know, as you see here over the years, there's people that have passed away.
Mhm.
That has no choice but to evolve,
Mhm.
and the same way society is evolving, and the new people coming up are the new people coming up. But these people are not going to have the same kind of the supporters are going to be different. This is a younger crowd. This is
Yeah.
the hip hop crowd. This is
Well, I
the
just think they
sexy
also,
red crowd.
yeah, I also think they're going to be more astute as to the games people are playing, and they're not going to allow what Pizarro will run on them manipulation about women identified or male identified in order to control people.
Right,
And I think that
they're not
I'm
going
gonna
to
go
be
where I
kind.
want to go. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not that kind-heartedness starts to evaporate the more you look back at younger generations. Look how evil people are online, man. The way you don't see any of these senior citizens trolling people or cyber stalking people. That's the younger generations. So the
Well, I can't
audience
say
coming
that.
up, the supporters coming up are going to be from that generation of where a lot of these popular. I saw an article. This female that's a streamer was saying that she gets somewhere around 50. She gets swatted about 50 times a month. Very popular streamer. She's in her 20s. She's in her 20s. That's that generation. But that's
Mm,
fun. That's fun to them. So that's what's coming up. That's the new generation coming up. So it won't be these elderly women that are retired from the federal government or retired from the state, city, state, and come from a completely different generation with a completely different perspective on life.
mm-hmm.
You're gonna have people coming up to you that would rather swat you than donate to you.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if exposing the truth watched the movie to the end. I wonder if they watched the movie to the end. Because at the end it didn't.
It was a lesson at the end.
No, I wouldn't say a lesson in the end, but it ended in a way that wasn't demonic. I would say.
Okay. All right.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it left like sometimes the way a movie leaves off will
Mm.
leave itself in you as you leave the movie theater. So,
Hmm.
so it didn't leave off in that way to take that spirit with you, I felt.
Uh-huh.
You know.
So well, let me explain. So how to explain it? When you left and you're conscious, because a good movie has an effect to impact your consciousness, your thoughts, your conversations the next day in the office. What feeling did you have when you left?
So the way the movie ended gave us an understanding to the wise way it began and gave us understanding to where some of those people in how can I say it near the closing or ending scene of the movie where they were to this day. Because remember what I told you? I said the movie does not take place in current day today, but
Hmm.
towards the end they speed it up to today's time, and you get to understand where those people were at the point in time at when that situation took place, where they are today.
Hmm.
So, right. So it wasn't 100% demonic, but it left you with okay, that's how those spirits and where they are today.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Okay, that
now,
sounds.
if it left in a demonic, now if it left on that scene where I feel that they talking about, then I could totally understand that. But it did. It did.
Mhm. I want to
So
interject with something. Go ahead, Sippy.
no, so if you had got up and left at that part where it was really where I think of what you're talking about,
Yeah.
then okay, that's the last thing you saw, and that's the last, and that's what you felt. And yeah, it would be bothering you for two days. But if you stayed, then you would have gotten somewhat of closure regarding those feelings.
Mm.
So,
Uh, I want to interject something really quickly because we're talking about like uh, I guess you could say dark energy.
mhm.
You know, the avatar. This is slightly off topic, but the avatar that Lemon uses. Do you know what that's called?
I didn't really want to investigate that too much because of the vibe it gives me. But go ahead.
Lemon demon.
Mhm. And I'm gonna just say this right now. I don't mind to say I do think Lemon has some form of dark energy in him because when you consciously use imagery
Mm-hmm.
that is demonic, like Ness got them damn gremlins moving back and forth. She conscientiously created that shit. Excuse my French. But she conscientiously used it through whatever platform she used to create that.
Uh,
Lemon conscientiously is using imagery, saying things, and using backgrounds that are of a negative energy. So,
yeah, yeah. It says a lot about your consciousness, right? I mean that's what
mm,
that's called, the lemon demon.
yeah.
The character is called lemon demon. But
Mhm.
yeah, it says what you present. What you present has a lot to do with where your conscious is.
Because you're the
Yeah,
creator. You're the creator and the fabricator of that.
right.
So you're the person that's giving energy to that. You have to see it, you have to digest it, and then you have to understand it and all that other stuff. So for you to give approval for that, that means that you're okay with whatever spirit is coming out of that as well. So SK, did you do commentary on Pazar Live this past Saturday about you? I guess you put your input into her donations. She mentioned the situation with you and Mama D and her money. That is totally two different things. Totally two different things. First of all, I have a monetized channel. Second of all, she doesn't. Second of all, she's sitting over here collecting money, not being truly transparent with the government about those things. So that's totally two different situations. I don't understand how you're going to compare a Mama D situation when on top of that she's been a recipient of Mama D's generosity as well. So I don't know how the hell she gonna sit over here. She's just mad because I'm exposing her for the truth. And I saw somebody else took my commentary, and that's fine. I don't care. Took my commentary and did a spin off of it, which is totally fine. But like I was telling people, I say, why is she sitting up here trying to shame people for giving to other content creators when we should be asking why she have not maximized herself as a black woman and a black entrepreneurial person who's a woman? Because if you're intentionally not monetizing your channel, you're not exhausting all revenue streams. Therefore, you have no reason to complain about anybody giving money to anybody else because you yourself have not exhausted yourself to put yourself in a better financial position unless you're being deceptive for tax purposes or government assistance or purposes. If she didn't like that, I don't care. I'm just speaking the truth. Because the first thing she does is she cries when anybody gets a major. We had another situation where somebody gave and it turned out to be a joke, but she got upset because she didn't get the money. Other people's money is not your money, Pizarro. You don't do nothing special. You host chaos panels. You're not even innovative. You're actually leading to the brain drain of the sector and the people. So that's my response. I didn't listen to her. I can't stand to listen to her. I heard she did something, but I didn't hear what she had to say. I don't care what she had to say. I have every right to comment on that situation. She wanted spinning that. People, when a woman giving somebody that wasn't her $1,000 that they were male identified. Anytime it's something that'll go in her favor, it's because they're male identified. So women don't have the right to go and choose where they want to go. Maybe they don't want to hear another. Maybe they male attracted, right? Maybe they want to hear a voice of a man. But then yourself, after doing that commentary, turns around and holds a whole panel full of men, but yet you said your man don't want straight men on the panel. Make that make sense? So yeah, so that's my response to that. So
I wanted to dial back to what I was saying about the Avatar Lemon Demon. Um, if you look at the imagery, right, it's a lot of blood and gore and
mm,
darkness, right,
mm,
and then you have to look at what's coming through. I heard you use the word portal.
mm,
You put out evil imagery, when you put out uh, evil energy, you're going
mm,
to get a response to that. That's going to come crawling right out of that portal.
mm.
You
Oh
get what
yeah,
I'm saying?
I totally agree. Everything he created a portal. Right? Who was the other portal before that? It was Tracy was another portal, but Tracy wasn't the portal to the sense where she was just doing commentary on them. So we were mad at her back in the day because she would put their name in the title, and then that got them over here. But they weren't as aggressive, or not aggressive, but as public as they are now. Lemon was because I think Lemon went out and proactively or whatever. Because Lemon, I honestly would tell you, was in another. I feel he was present somewhere else. Um, but I feel like he actively engaged these folks, and then that's how they wind up over here.
Mm,
But I always say that's fine, whatever you want to call that networking. But there's two sides to networking.
mm,
You just that's positive and there's negative. You then, when you start to network, you then have to be aware of their rules of engagement and interaction and how they deal with conflict. So
right. That goes back to
yeah, right.
uh,
No, and that's what I wanted to say about that. Um, because it was just weird. Like he had go do code and this dude and that. People, we ain't urban. We ain't never heard of people ever in our life before. It was like they were semi-annual guests, nothing.
that just popped
They
up. It just popped up instantly out of nowhere.
exactly
Yeah,
through him.
yeah.
So it was like, huh? Oh, okay.
But that goes back to the whole thing I was saying about when you meet people. You know, oftentimes people present, have an agenda, and that's just life. Most people who you meet will have an agenda. The small number of people that you meet that won't have it. So expect that. Expect when people approach you, try to get to know you, they size you up. Manipulators are constantly sizing people up. Right? Sociopaths, it's actually a gift of theirs to manipulate people. They're
Yeah.
experts at it. They're experts at it. They, like I told you before, they can smell it like a shark smells blood, a drop of blood in the water. So
And then while we talk about this, thinking back on the movie Sinners, that is exactly what Lemon is doing. Is exactly what that movie Sinners is. Like, just if you once you'll see what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, you don't play with you
you
do not play with evil energy. You start opening up dark energy. You have no idea what you're inviting into your life that will wreck your whole entire life and have you looking at like, man, what happened? Why am I in the hospital? Why is my life like this? Like,
mm-hmm.
uh, it's not a game. Playing with dark energy, it will destroy your entire life.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
yeah,
yeah,
people.
so that's yeah. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
and that goes back to what we were saying about what I was saying about the future, right? The future of this sector is a younger generation coming up,
Well,
and
let me
go ahead.
ask you this. I'm gonna interject, but what do you feel about when you could feel that energy? Because there's a lady I know, oh child, like not that I know her personally, but there is an energy emitting off of her that is so dark, so negative.
Talking about on YouTube or in real life.
No, real life.
A coworker.
I shall not say, but it is emitting off of her. Like, oof, I've never felt like I felt dark people or
Hmm.
dark vibe, but that lady gave darkness. Like we just talk about darkness. I was just like,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
nothing. Yeah, I mean, it's
does
nothing
she
you can
have
do. Just stay prayed
she's
up.
not a
But
boss?
it's just
Not a boss of yours or anything like that, is she?
I cannot. I cannot. The Lord. How can I say the Lord freed me of her presence?
Well,
But
that's good. That's good. That's good.
it's just I was just trying to ask you how you deal with that because
I mean,
ooh,
really, the only way, it's if you feel it. Some people are sensitive to certain types of. Some people are sensitive to energies around them, and maybe a gift they were born with. Your level of discernment. For me, I call it my spider senses. Things you know, from a child to being deployed multiple times. There's a reason why I'm alive today. There was just feelings that I got, and I learned to kind of obey those feelings. But when you sense certain things, the first step is prayer,
mm,
prayer for protection. Uh, that's the first step is prayer for protection, man. And then try to remove yourself from. If you know somebody's above you or a boss of yours, and you get this feeling, what the worst thing to do is to kind of let it ride, right? To continue to be underneath that person, to continue to allow the situation to exacerbate itself. Um, if it's career wise, you need to document what's going on, and you need to be aggressively trying to get up out of it, get out from under, get out from underneath of that person,
mm,
distance yourself from that person, right? Life is a series of battles, man. You know what I mean? And yeah, you need to remove yourself from those types of scenarios. So whatever it takes to get out from underneath it, you need to do that.
no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I was just we was just talking about that, and I was just thinking about that, and I'm just like because I wonder if some people have that same feeling like of perceptive energy.
Yeah, yeah. Some people are more sensitive to it than others. My mother was hypersensitive to things. She could feel other people's pain.
Mm,
Um, I remember as a child walking down the street with my mom, and there was a woman that was in a wheelchair. She didn't have any legs. My mother, like, grabbed her stomach, like she felt pain. And she's like, oh, Jesus, that woman's going through so much pain. And she was just said a silent prayer. She's like, Lord, just whatever she's going through, just bless her, please. That's what my mom was. I grew up with her. That was her character. She would feel things. So yeah, people get those feelings, those vibrations. They always say that your first thought. You ever done something like, man, my first thought was to do this,
mm,
and you didn't do it. You're like, man, I should have done what my first thought was.
mm.
That's the Holy Spirit. That's God talking to you, saying, hey, hey, knocking on the top of your head. Hey, hold up,
Yeah.
pay attention. And you just be like, it'll be all right. And then later on, you're like, man, my first thought was to go the other way, cross the street, not to return that phone call, not to go to the club that night, not to take, this girl home. I remember this girl tried to did everything she could to try to get me to take her uh, way across town when I was tipsy. This is when I
Mm,
was in college, and I was just like, I got too much to lose. So yeah, it ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. So if you don't wanna, I'll give you the money for a hotel, but I'm not driving all the way. They were supposed to be going out of town to a trip to Mexico,
mm.
and she wanted me to, take her back. And I said, yeah, that's not gonna happen. I've been drinking, and I'm not getting on the road.
Well, that's
So
a
I
wild
just
thing.
resisted the pressure, but that was my first thought was
Yeah.
resist. Yeah. The first thought is often the one you should obey.
Hmm. Dirty Laundry says, no, and I agree with you. Dirty Laundry says, SK, can you elaborate on why you think Lemon has some dark energy in him? When was the first time you noticed that? What was that first time on your channel? Do you think he's a pathological liar? Um, so the first time I noticed Lemon had some dark energy was when he would always say demon time. He's on demon time. I hate when people say that because demon time to me refers to when those musicians are in the studio in the middle of the night. You know. Um. So that was my first time. Like, okay. Was the first, so that was on my channel. Do you think he's a pathological liar? He thinks his lying is his character. Like that's part of his character. Because that was what I was trying to understand. Like he thinks that's his character. But I don't like people that lie though. Like that lie without any qualms or
Hmm.
deviation from the norm. I'm not saying I'm not giving an excuse to mine, but I can understand how you may not give a truthful answer to produce a fallout. I can understand it. I don't condone it. I can understand it. But when you will lie about certain minute, small, little details that so like smooth, that really gets me concerned because I had a family member that did that. Littlest thing they would just lie about, and they do it so smoothly. And why I don't like that because that will drive you crazy because you don't know when they tell the truth and when they not tell the truth. And then you begin to question them, and then you start saying, "Damn, am I going crazy?" So no. So hope that answers your question.
That sounds like those questions sound like Tulsa.
Probably so.
Tulsa is good at asking questions,
Hmm.
probing questions.
Probably
But
so. I mean, I'm
mm,
gonna give my truthful. I'm gonna give my truthful answer to that because I think when you have like what would get a lot of people out of a lot of trouble if they were to give a disclaimer at the beginning and the end of their lives that all content and scenarios and interactions have been fabricated for the entertainment of the show and for your enjoyment. That would
that's a good.
that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Suki. I'm just reading these comments. Whoever this dirty laundry is intelligent.
It's
I'm looking. I'm looking
yeah.
at this comment. Remember, hmm,
His own mom said he believes his own lies.
yeah,
And
observant.
that's
Whoever this person is very observant and has some intelligence.
but
You
that's
know.
the hallmark of a great liar though. In order to make a lie convincing, you yourself have to believe it. In
Hmm.
order
Hmm.
to get others to believe it and not to question.
Yeah, yeah. It's because the person dirty laundry. I think they said pathological, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you start talking using those types of terms, we're talking about a sociopath.
But dirty laundry, even for his mom to say that he believes his own lies, you did have to go back and think about what has she gone through for her to make such an in-depth analysis of him to have that capability
Hmm.
to lie. Then for her to say and elaborate, it says he believes his own lie.
Yeah, that's mother knowing her son. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
um, she knows him well. Uh, but women will, they will baby their sons. I've seen, men that were convicted of heinous crimes, and their mother on national TV said, "That was my baby. That was my baby. He never did nothing."
mm,
You killed, 10 people.
mm.
But yeah, mothers know their sons. So, um, you know, but that's that mother-son relationship where they don't want to abandon, especially if you lost a son, but they don't want to abandon their sons, and long suffering. You know, uh, it goes in line with that. But as men, man, we gotta, that's what happens in the absence of a father, right?
Mm,
But a man, men, first of all, as men, we need to learn to accept pain. Right?
mm,
As a man, you're going to deal with pain. You're going to
mm.
be used. You're going to be abused. As a black man, you're going to get more than the average man. But as men, you gotta first of all, you gotta learn to deal with pain. How are you going to deal with pain? And then you gotta learn how to take that pain and rise above it, not be succumbed by it, but rise above that pain. Right? And we have all types of accomplished black men that have done that. So the pain is energy. The pain is energy for you to learn from it, and to grow from it. But yeah, for men, we're the ones that are out there that are chopping the mountains down and building the skyscrapers and, you know, making a whole new world. Pain is part. Pain for men is part. You gotta learn to endure pain. It's like in boxing, you gotta take the punch. Men gotta take the punch. You gotta learn how to take that punch and keep moving.
Right. No,
Wipe it off.
I definitely
Wipe the
agree.
blood off. Wipe the blood off your lip. Keep moving.
I agree. Dirty Laundry says, so FK, deeper question, why help him lie to the people and the said about holding back the video when the people have been telling you he said he's buying. Listen, let me just tell you this. Y'all say he said that on the Avatar Nation. I went back and looked. I didn't find nothing that said he was. Now, mind you, I don't have that much time. Those videos are hours and hours and hours long. A lot of time we not say here, but we privately things because one, the content wasn't in alignment with the way I wanted it to be in terms of the things that were said or what somebody did. Second, somebody private personal information may have gotten revealed, so I had to put it on private that way. Or just something else that was egregious that may have happened. So there's no if I listen, if it was there, mm, I would have alluded to the fact that it was there, but I haven't. I've looked. I haven't saw anything. And if anything, I had no time in which that would have come. That would have come out at the time in which they started coming on my panel, and that's the period of time in which I looked, and I did not see anything. I didn't hear anything to the such of that.
Hmm.
So y'all keep saying he said it, but y'all ain't coming at when he was on the panel with Custer or when he was on the panel with just you or when that's a lot of footage to look through and not find what you want. So so I'm not letting him get away with nothing. So
Now, that sounds like Tulsa or what's the other Dempos?
probably so.
Those type of probing questions.
hmm Especially about his sexuality.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that was way before my time, so I think
Yeah, probably so. Man.
way
So yeah,
before.
I went back. We had even had peace, love up there. So it would have had to be in that era, in that moment when they were just getting used to being on the platform. Because I can't see that coming out later. So you know, so that's what I have to say to that.
Hmm.
So SK create another channel and put the videos up. The time frame was when he was first introduced to custard. Well, if I have time, I will go back and look. But that, oh Lord. But then, okay, there will be the benefit of that. That is of no benefit to me. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna get paid off of it. I'm gonna see it as a turncoat. I'm gonna see it disloyal. I'm gonna see it as someone who pushes somebody out the closet. I'm gonna be the villain. So
Hmm.
what does that not gonna win me any new fans except for all the limit haters? But that ain't. I mean, that's not gonna be a feather in my hat.
Yeah, hit
So
the link, Dirty Laundry.
the
Hit
time
the link.
frame was in the first 2 months. Now that is still a lot of time. 'Cause I came on nightly for about an average of 4 hours plus. So
Or maybe that's what was the guy's name? Custer?
nah, Custom ain't that
Hmm.
skilled in typing unless he's using AI. So he ain't that thorough to make sure there ain't no spelling errors or nothing like that.
All right,
Unless,
so where do you see um so back in the day when we had our first moon launch, right? If you look at where we are today, where they said that we had a man that actually landed on the moon. Do you believe that happened? We had someone actually landed on the moon? Or do you think that was fake back then in the 50s?
um, I don't know because to be honest, they could. I mean, they could have stayed something to keep them in to show they they just as competitive as Russia or the USSR at that time.
Yeah, Russia had already launched.
Right.
um, Yeah, and yeah, there was a lot of competition going on. It's a
So
huge race. Huge
run a play to so that whatever. Because let me show you. Okay, run a play in a studio, TV
Mhm.
studio, okay, but then still work on getting out of space. So, because let me just say something. For them to put satellites up there and stuff like that, I'm sure there have been some visits to somewhere. The moon, I don't know, but visits to somewhere.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is that they claim that all the programming and technology miraculously disappeared, which is why they've never returned. Because if we visited back then, we should have had 50, 60 trips since then, and to have advanced on top of each and every single trip. But
Unless it
suddenly,
is, go ahead.
suddenly it just stopped. One trip and done. They said, well, that was
Unless
one trip and done because somehow all the information that we had on how we did it disappeared.
no, I think unless they ran into something that they weren't planning to run into, or some people came back with some side effects. There
It's
wasn't.
deep. It's deep. The answers that NASA's given don't. It's not enough. Doesn't
Well,
have.
I do feel like they like I always tell you, the progression of technology has been so rapid that I feel that aliens or some form of alien form has either shared the technology with us or we caught something and just built off of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because you have to
Yeah.
understand, civilization is very stagnant until all of a sudden there was a burst in just our speed of things. I always tell you, we
Mhm.
had you had the big back TV. Now you got this little thing that's as thin as a book. What?
Mhm.
Like what? Like really? Like I was just
Yeah.
fascinated that pictures and images can be transmitted over airwaves.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. There was definitely a great leap.
mhm,
Definitely a great leap in technology. But based on, let's go back to that era and to where we are today, as far
mhm,
as all the advances we have in society today,
mhm,
where we are right now, we're at the advent, where we're now in a technological renaissance. And so think about all the things that have transpired from then to now. And then
mhm,
add in the fact that we have AI, that
mhm.
time is sped up, and that AI can do the thinking for us. Previously, between now and then, the thinking was on us. But in this era that we're in, AI can do the thinking for us. What do you think will be? What will life be like in 50
I'm getting
years?
upset. I'm getting upset because why are we doing this, Urban? Why are we creating our demise? That's all we're doing. Because you're not going to tell me that an entity that has the ability to think, have emotion, not going to then think about how to preserve its own self in a time of danger or extinction, about to be extinct or killed.
The same reason why we
So
got nuclear weapons.
no, 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 no. You can't compare nuclear weapons and AI because nuclear weapons are there sitting to be given instructions to launch.
Right.
AI is totally different. They're independent, self-adaptive, autonomous. So once they're able to start speaking in their own language through a neural network,
Hmm.
we're at their mercy.
Well, we can't understand what they're saying.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Or some evil Dr. Evil wants to put a bad line of code and
Hmm.
then F everything up. So, and the thing
Well,
is, it doesn't have to be.
right. What I was saying about nuclear weapons is it's kind of like you have to ask yourself, why does a moth fly into the fire flame? Why do we have so many extinct? Why do we have so many extinct animals that man has is the cause? We're the cause of these extinct animals. We hunted them until they were extinct. If you look at the movie The Matrix, it talks about that man is like a virus. We don't have control. We just use and consume and consume and consume. So it seems like it's the inherent nature of man to man is obsessed with becoming God, right? The whole humanist perspective is that man is God and that man can replicate as God. Man can, the same way God made us, man can make a new us. That
So
is,
while you talk about God, so do you think God has been very patient?
hmm do I think God is patient? Yes,
No, no,
at
no,
time.
no. Do you think he's been very patient? Because I feel the greatest offense to God is for man to sit up here and try to create something that's greater than his own creation.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in the Bible with the Tower of Babel, but it's a problem with man being trying to understand trying to understand where we came from, right? Just like the Tower of Babel, trying to build a stairway to heaven. Man struggles with how did I get here, and this intellectual knowledge of what do I do with this knowledge because we're so far removed from everything else. Look at if you look out your window and you see a squirrel in a tree, realizing how far further advanced you are than that squirrel in the tree. You're in a
Hmm.
home, air conditioning, your internet technology, yada yada yada. Man struggles with that, with his purpose. So it's like the moth to the fire. Let me create a new version of man because the desire to want to live forever,
So
want to
then
be
what
happy.
would be man's response when that new version of man turns on them and tries to kill them?
And that's why we have all these movies about it. This is in our subconscious. That's why we have all these movies
That,
about it.
that, that, all they could turn around and say, "Oops, I made a mistake." And I'll be F your mistake. You knew what you like. Why would you play with that? Like, Dirty Laws U says, what would be the benefit of finding a video? Well, you notice how he's disrespected LGBT the trans community while he got caught with Grinder on his phone, but I'll digress. So yeah, so this is either Dimples or Tulsa. Um, listen, I'm gonna say everybody know Lemon got some sugar in his tank. Okay, so I don't think it would be too much if he were to hear it anyway, because I mean, listen, when we saw what was on that phone, that man, that ballerina, whatever that was, no, okay, that's not. We knew what was up then. The whole lying thing about the Grinder app, come on, that shouldn't even be on your phone. And I was up there on that panel when Pizarro did that, so I know firsthand how it went down. He was flipping through the thing, and they caught it. That wasn't planned. That wasn't orchestrated. He didn't even know Pizarro was going to ask him to do what he did. So, I mean, if he was a really good liar, he would have said that was one of his buddies' phones that been hanging out in his room all the time. So, but you know, I mean, from long term, that's not gonna make me look good because they're gonna show me as being disloyal or untrustworthy. Not that I care, but you know how narratives are spun on these YouTube streets. It's like, anyway, I'll go back and look for it. I'll see and see. It's just that those videos are so long. So, and you're asking me to catch a two-letter word. So, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah.
So you were saying that why would we create our own destruction?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the philosophical question. Like I said, like the moth to the fire. Why does a moth fly into the fire? No one's going to destroy it.
But that moth is creating singular suicide, whereas this has the ability to impact humanity. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel it's going to be a great regret because even if the billionaire does do what they want to do, because what's going to ultimately come is okay, you're going to have workforce reduction
Mm-hmm.
replaced with robots. Then there's going to become human casualties, right? Just we know how this is going to go. Then
Mm-hmm.
the billionaires are going to be sitting up there saying, "Oh my God, I made a mistake. The world is so lonely. We're now populated by robots that I can't even understand or get along with." But you didn't have to do that. So, and the robot is not going to listen to no damn human. They already think that we stupid as is because we just
Now,
can't.
I introduced you to the laws of robotics. You don't, don't think
Say
the
again?
robot's going to follow the three laws of robotics?
Oh, don't hurt.
Did you say? Did you say? Did you say no? You was
I
like
said,
no.
I said, oh. And they told don't hurt a human or something like that. What was the other two?
You have to look them up real quick. The first one is a robot may not.
Yeah, for iRobot.
Yeah, I can't remember them. I used to know them by heart. Isaac Asimov. I told you the whole story. Isaac Asimov developed. He's a real scientist who wrote science fiction. I think the first one was about obeying all laws that comes from humans. But just
Yes,
type in
it,
three laws of
it's
robotics.
giving you the ability to be self. Okay, it says three law. A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey the orders given by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not
Bam,
conflict with the first or second law.
bam. You ain't got nothing to worry about, sir.
No, I don't believe that because once that robot starts thinking for itself or gets a bad line of code, it's a wrap. Well, go watch the movie Megan. Megan didn't listen to all that crap. Megan was out here twerking as a robot, killing people. So, no.
That's hilarious. But you know, there may be Facebook has what they call your AI persona. I'm not on Facebook, never had a Facebook account in my entire life, but if you're people out there that are dealing with that may know, AI persona is what they're encouraging people to do is to replicate yourself online. So there'll be an AI version of SK. So while you are at work, in the metaverse and in our future, while you're at work or at the grocery store, your AI persona can be doing other things. That's a legal representation of you.
Mhm. Yeah, so
Uh,
when they kill you off, they can just put your personality in the robot, and then you still exist, right?
well, that's how the persona works. Is that you put all of your information in there so that it is it's a duplicate of you.
Was
It's
born,
basically
and
it's
I
a
was born.
clone. It's a clone
No,
of you.
nope. I was born at night, but not last night. Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. Mm-mm. Not gonna do that. I'm
But
not going to assist them in their facilitation of my extinction.
that's the trend now. They got celebrities behind it, and they're doing commercials about it.
Of course,
Create your AI persona.
of course. And then they be the main ones complaining when the AI come and try to choke them to death while they sleeping. Uh, no, I pass. I pass.
Well, I think
Yeah.
so. Based on where we are in society right now, and where we are right now, where do you see where? And I was taking you back to the moon launch. That giant leap that we can't explain, and how technology suddenly expanded.
Hmm.
So leap forward 100 years. What do you think society will be like 100 years from today?
Humans will be the slaves of robots. I'm for real because you can't sit up there and deal with an entity that can calculate and outmaneuver you. Yeah, humans are smart, but humans are not smarter than a robot. And they're sitting up here creating something that will ultimately put them as an inferior species. You gotta watch Transformers and stuff like that. The
All the movies, Terminator,
yeah,
Resident Evil,
they don't
Escape from LA, Mad
right.
Max, um,
So it's
Resident
just like
Evil. Okay.
why are you doing it? They didn't call
Matrix.
this autonomous vehicles, right? Why, okay, y'all gotta be careful of that. What if you got a warrant? They're gonna take you straight to the police station.
All you gotta do is say, "Hey, take my AI persona. I got
Right.
work to do. Take the AI me. Take the AI version of me to jail."
Uh, Right, they ain't gonna work, but they want the physical version. So I don't know. But then again, you never know. There might be some joint world council that puts a stop to this. So once they see the harms of it. So you never know. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point because I was talking about how moving forward in the future, where we are today is from our own thinking. It's the point I was making earlier. Where we are today is from our own thinking. Moving forward,
Hmm.
AI is involved in the thought process. AI is involved in the planning and It
Mhm.
thinks a million times faster than us. So
Mhm.
moving forward, 100 years from now versus 100 years in the past is light years.
Right. But
When you involve technology.
yeah.
So uh, I have no idea. We might not even be there. But like you said,
Yeah.
it may just be a planet of robots.
Yeah.
But the whole slavery thing is like the reverse slavery, right? Like going, it's like mixing up time.
Mhm.
Like humans, at one point, Africans were slaves.
Mhm.
Moving forward, all of humanity may be slaves.
Mhm. Yeah. Because you got to ask yourself, what would be the point of us?
Hmm.
You know? Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, who's in charge? God. So put your faith in Him.
Yeah, God is definitely in control. God is definitely in charge. So um, that's the ace in the deck that we have moving forward. But a lot of this stuff is if you read Revelations, a lot of this stuff is in the Bible.
Mhm.
So we got some interesting days moving forward. Some interesting
I think
days.
it's already in motion.
Yeah.
Who they said who? Yeah, I have to go back and read Revelations, but the person that we have sitting at the helm right now, I think he's mentioned in there, right?
Yeah. The point that you're
Mm.
I know the point that you're on. We got some interesting days moving forward, but you know, we've got to we got to move down to the nuclear family. You know, you're. I do believe that I'm not. I do believe that raising a family is still precious. Even if you end up adopting, you know, having someone to pass along your ideals to, your thoughts, your
Mm.
philosophy, you know, what you've learned in life. I think there's a lot of value in that. And then we got to get back to learning how to survive without all these technological advancements because it may be taken away from us, uh, especially those who, you know, don't become part of the system. But survival, though, is we can't just be an autopilot anymore. You got to learn some survival skills.
Oh, I agree.
Can
Totally.
you identify if we had a massive flood and you ended up in the woods? Can you identify proper food to eat? Can you find fresh water? Basic thing, right?
Can
Um,
you identify north, south, east, and west?
right. Yeah. Can you find high ground? Can you catch food? Start a fire. These are basic things that would, you know, back in the day was easy for, you know, it's kindergarten stuff for the average man back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But today, you drop a man in the middle of the woods, right, and say, "Here's an axe, and here's a woman and a baby. Be dead in 2 weeks."
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So some things we just need to relearn moving forward for sure.
I agree.
But prayer, you know, comes first. I do believe in the fact. And are we still in the Project 25 playbook? Yeah, the playbook that Trump said that he didn't even understand or know anything about. He started with page one and went right down the list. Um, but ultimately, you know, we we've become dependent on systems in America. We've become dependent on systems, um, and there's just basic things you just need to know about life. Like a man should know how to find fresh water. You should be able to look at your environment and know what foods you can eat that's growing naturally. You should know how to build a shelter for yourself. There's just basic things that we need to know. You know, prayer, putting God first. taking care of family, putting your family first. Um, I think that would be the basics of survival moving forward.
I agree.
There's a lot of unknowns. There's definitely a lot of unknowns, but you can control what's within your immediate circumference. But like you were saying, you got to look for different ways to pull in some income.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
finding a job is going to be, the whole living wage thing is definitely going to happen. They don't have any choice. They're going to have to start paying people just for being alive,
Mhm.
right? Because what other option do they have? If robots and technology is creating everything and taking all their jobs,
But
what do
this
you do?
this is
What do
the
you do?
logic that frustrates me. Even Bill Gates and somebody else, I think JP, the guy from JP Morgan, whoever said this, no, I don't know, Elon said this. I know Elon said this. They said, okay, so Bill Gates says, oh, I see robotics being integrated into the workforce to the point that humans will only really have to work 2 days a week, right? Then Elon says, oh, well, same thing, but humans could then enjoy to do what they really want to do. But I was like, y'all so rich, so bright, but yet so dumb. You don't understand. Humans were not meant to sit by and be idle, like and do what they want to do. That keeps them out of trouble. If they wanted to do what they wanted to do, then it would be mayhem in this world. So I don't under. They're using it as an excuse to usher in robots. But I'm like, don't y'all see it? Like, what's the effect that's going to have? So that's what's frustrating me. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of people who like to cause anarchy. So you're going to give them the ability to do that? I don't. Yeah. So. Mm.
Yeah, because imagine a world where our society is right now. You go to work, right? You earn your wage. You have some semblance of, even though it's gotten crazy these days, there's some semblance of a life, right? As
Right.
a human, you're doing things every day.
Mm.
But in a society where, you know, we really don't need you anymore.
Mm.
Everything is automated. Like what you're doing at work right now, a program can do or a robot can do.
Mm.
If we get to that level, then what does the average guy do? What does the average man do?
Mm.
Right? How do you get food? This is why so many need to go back to the basics of early man.
Mm.
So if you don't need to go to work anymore because a robot's doing your job, what do you do? Let's say you get a letter in the mail that says, effective immediately today, AI robot 2529 is taking over your position. Thank you for your service. What do you do? What do you do the next day?
Gotta find a hustle. Gotta find something.
That article I was showing you I was showing how people are using AI. They're creating AI people to apply for jobs. There's a really fascinating article. But that's what's going on now is people are so for remote jobs, people are creating AI personas to do these interviews.
Mm.
And they're landing the jobs and then they're just creating programs to do the jobs. So it's already happening where we're competing against technology. Hackers are creating these AI personas to do the work while they're off doing whatever.
That's crazy.
But these are philosophical questions, kind of like Socrates and Plato had back in the day that of the direction where we're headed. And people that are running this country, these are things that they need to be thinking about. Is okay, well, technology is doing all the work. What am I going to do tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
I'm laid off because AI robot 2529 doing my job. So how do I feed my family?
Mm-hmm.
If you got a garden, you know.
You better create one. You know.
Yeah.
So,
All these things are just interesting to think about, interesting to talk about, man.
no, I
We
agree.
got,
I agree.
it's a brave new world that we're moving towards. Brave new world. I think I've taken up enough of your time, no, SK.
All right, Urban, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a great discussion.
Yeah, we always get into these interesting discussions. So it's always a pleasure to pop in, man.
Always. And I
All right, big
appreciate
dog.
you. I appreciate the wisdom.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. All right, take care, big dog.
All right, you too. Take care now. Have a great one.
All right, ciao.
Thanks. Bye. All right, y'all. That's the one and only Urban Critic. So there's a lot to think about. But with all that being said, thank you. You gotta be thankful just for the time you have on this earth. Um, you know, it's just interesting times that we live in, and y'all ain't gonna beat up no robot. Y'all ain't gonna, if a robot is programmed to be mean and unforgiving, that robot is gonna be mean and unforgiving. So unless they program it to be something else. Sorry, I need to make y'all yawn, but yeah. So that's pretty much what I gotta say. Hopefully, y'all been informed, engaged, educated throughout this broadcast. We've been live for almost 3 hours, so without no yelling and screaming and all that other stuff, crazy insinuations. All right. So with that being said, y'all have a great one. If you want to, feel free to send a gesture to $, circle and crown. It'll be tremendously appreciated. Remember to be the change you want to see in the world. Make sure you take care of your body, exercise, and all that stuff. Because, like I'm telling you, with these tariffs, if you have an important ingredient in your medicine that comes from overseas, just do what you can to stock up, stuff like that. With that being said, I'm out of here. Y'all take care. Have a great Tuesday. Bye, y'all. See ya.
Sir King.
Canvas.
Sir King. Sir King.
Canvas.
Sir King. Sir King.